Chapter 281, Hunting Outside the City. Di Qing said, "Brother Luo Feng, when we go hunting we need to cooperate. We should understand each other's strengths. I follow the spatial path, and I'm best at sword formations, using them to trap and kill our prey. I specialize in close quarters combat," Luo Feng replied. The path of creation and destruction by its nature was perfectly suited to direct fighting. With his life and destruction great path already in the ultimate realm, his power was comparable to a god emperor, early stage, on an ordinary path. Even with only the creation and destruction path, Luo Feng's understanding put him at the level of an early stage god emperor in Dao comprehension. On top of that, he had 5 powerful clones. A cultivator with a body refined to match a god emperor, early stage, might have a strong physique, but very few could match Luo Feng's unique combination of talents. Ha ha ha! Excellent! I'll set up the formations, and you'll handle the close work. It's a perfect match. Di Qing laughed. Among cultivators, few were willing to fight at close range, especially against skyborn mixed-source life. Those beings almost always had formidable life bodies and extraordinary gifts. "There's just one problem. I still lack a suitable weapon," Luo Feng admitted. Let's go. I'll come with you," Di Qing said, already ready. If Luo Feng was short on Hunyuan crystal, Di Qing could even lend him some. A short time later, they reached a merchant's shop in the inner city of Yulan City. Luo Feng had already scouted the city when he first arrived and knew what kind of weapons and treasures could be found. His gaze landed on a pair of black gloves. "These gloves," the attendant said with a smile, "are a secret treasure set crafted by the Crescent Dao Lord in his early days. They contain profound mysteries of both the life and destruction paths. With creation and destruction combined, their power is terrifying." The attendant added that the Crescent Dao Lord had later become one of the peak existences in the dark sacred world, elevating both life and destruction to the half-step primordial origin level. Luo Feng remembered hearing about him, an incredibly fearsome Dao comprehension, far stronger than the two nations' forefathers. "What's the price?" Di Qing urged from the side. 105,000 Hunyuan crystal, the attendant said. Luo Feng tried bargaining. In the Nine Rivers sacred world, many treasures could be bargained for. Only a few items had fixed prices. These gloves, however, had a limited audience. Only someone cultivating both life and destruction would be interested. The shopkeeper came to negotiate. After back and forth, they settled on 98,000 Hunyuan crystal. Luo Feng bought the gloves joyfully. These were crafted by the Crescent Dao Lord for his disciples when his life and destruction paths were at the God Emperor late stage. At the time, the Crescent Dao Lord's status in the Nine Rivers sacred world was already high. Reaching God Emperor late stage in one path could earn a cultivator an elder seat in Yulan City's Elder Hall. The Crescent Dao Lord had been an elder, nearly palace master level in strength. Once Luo Feng refined the gloves with a single thought, he felt the mysteries of creation and destruction fuse through them, and he couldn't stop admiring them. "Secret treasures at the God Emperor late stage don't cost that much," Di Qing said with a smile. But once they reached the God Emperor completion stage, even the cheapest would be over 100,000 Hunyuan crystal. "You got a bargain." Luo Feng nodded. Between the resources he had bought earlier and this purchase, his funds had been heavily reduced. Inside a cave abode, another conversation took place. "Are you really going hunting?" asked his companion. The Emperor's consort nodded. "I've been in Yulan City a long time and met many cultivators who rely on the Hunyuan bloodline. Many people here have reached God Emperor, early stage, by leaning on that bloodline. The true hunting teams won't look down on us, so we'll have to form our own," the consort continued. "Dozens of God Emperor, early stage, Hunyuan practitioners working together can still kill the weakest low-level Hunyuan life." "You could die," his companion warned. The consort smiled softly. "I know the risks. I also have a secret." Although he didn't have clone techniques, he had exchanged rewards tied to spiritual will from the infinite space treasure trove and used them to gain Ancestor Yan Feng's favor. Ancestor Yan Feng had found 2 top-tier life-saving treasures for him, both integrated with his soul and designed to activate in life-threatening situations. The consort himself had also exchanged for another life-saving item in the treasure trove. He knew he couldn't rely on clones for survival, so his priority was self-preservation. Other things could be accumulated later. The path of cultivation allows no retreat, he said with firm resolve. Having spent nearly 100 epochs in Yulan City, he had learned that most strong figures rose by battling low-level Hunyuan life. Since you've decided to go hunting, choose your teammates carefully, his companion reminded. He had delayed going out until now, partly because he had been looking for the right partners. That was why Di Qing had been so pleasantly surprised when he found Luo Feng. Trustworthy, capable companions were rare. After over 100 days of familiarizing himself with the new gloves, Luo Feng and Di Qing slipped out of Yulan City. Outside the walls, Di Qing's black flying shuttle blended into the void and became almost invisible. This shuttle was Di Qing's best, with powerful concealment. With our combined strength, our main targets will be low-level Hunyuan life at the God Emperor, early stage, Di Qing said. We don't fear middle-stage God Emperors, but killing them would be very difficult. It's hard to judge a low-level Hunyuan's true strength at a glance, Luo Feng admitted. Then we'll rely on experience, Di Qing said with a confident smile. We'll judge together. Luo Feng opened his biomimetic extinction eye. Billions of kilometers of space, even residual space-time traces, came into his observation range. Auras, space-time distortions, wave fluctuations, will remnants. He checked them all. Di Qing also used his secret treasure to probe the void. We're approaching the Cold Ice River, one of the 9 rivers, Di Qing said. Countless low-level Hunyuan life live nearby. The closer we get, the more likely we'll encounter them. Early-stage God Emperors make up over 90% of the low-level Hunyuan population. The stronger ones are much rarer, so running into an exceptionally powerful specimen is unlikely. Di Qing relaxed. He had plenty of hunting experience. This time, with Luo Feng at his side, he felt even more confident. Both men had clones on the origin continent, so without huge temptation, betrayal was unlikely. As they chatted, Luo Feng suddenly fell silent. His biomimetic extinction eye had picked up a massive creature ahead. It floated concealed in the void, a large winged beast with a pair of sharp claws and wings bigger than its body. Its head was triangular with 3 faces, coldly scanning the surroundings. The wing scales were a desolate gray that radiated an aura of death. 3-faced gray-winged beast, Luo Feng said soberly. Judging by its size and aura, it's around God Emperor early stage. He projected a phantom map, marking surrounding low-level Hunyuan life. Di Qing steered the shuttle closer and confirmed it. I also think it's early stage, he said. Brother Di Qing, I'll try first, Luo Feng said, eager. I haven't fought a low-level Hunyuan life yet. Di Qing nodded. Good. If you can't handle it, I'll step in. Luo Feng's body shimmered as a white robe formed around him, an apparition of his Tianguang clone. The Tianguang clone was the most resilient of his 5 clones. Its robe offered protection in a way secret treasure armor could not. Armor could be damaged beyond easy repair. A clone-formed robe could restore its energy flow quickly, no matter how badly it was torn. Go. Luo Feng's mind shifted, and he entered a future timeline. Many cultivators could slip into the past, but few could travel the future, an ability of his time clone. Di Qing watched in secret admiration. The 3-faced gray-winged beast lay in ambush, its thread-like tail swaying as it waited for prey near the Cold Ice River. The more it devoured, the more it would benefit from heaven and earth's rewards, and the stronger it would become, perhaps one day leaving the world entirely. Suddenly, a vast world projection descended and pressed down on the beast. Cultivators' Tao comprehension strengthened their spiritual will. Luo Feng's successive ultimate realm breakthroughs in life, destruction, and creation and destruction had greatly amplified his. His world clone now held energy reserves equivalent to 300 times a perfect divine body, and his spiritual will could easily control it. The world projection's power was immense. Heaven and Earth unification. Luo Feng's Heaven and Earth clone merged with the surrounding heaven and earth, turning the area into his domain. The world projection bound and suppressed the 3-faced gray-winged beast. Startled and enraged, the beast's wings trembled as it tried to break free, but the restraint was overwhelming. It could only muster 60 to 70% of its strength. Forbidden technique, Tianjui Curse. Luo Feng's cause-effect clone unleashed one of the forbidden techniques he had created after comprehending the complete life and destruction Great Path. The attack consumed huge energy but was devastating. At the same time, the World Clone released the Li Yuan art. The beast saw a vast star roll toward it, crushing its will. Struck by both the Tianjui Curse and the Li Yuan art, the three-faced gray-wing beast's consciousness dulled. Its vitality was tenacious. Life forms that had leapt out of the cage were notoriously resilient, but the dual assault left it dazed. In that opening, Luo Feng, robed in white and towering, roughly one-third the beast's size, appeared in front of it. His hands, sheathed in the secret treasure gloves, became like sharp claws infused with the mysteries of creation and destruction. With a brutal, forceful motion, he drove them into the beast's chest. Chapter 282, First Kill. Each of Luo Feng's fingers moved like a razor, infused with the aura of creation and destruction. He drove them through the three-faced gray-winged beast's chest scales and flesh, then abruptly slashed downward, widening the wound. Purple blood sprayed out. These scales and flesh aren't ordinary, Luo Feng thought as his secret treasure gloves met fierce resistance. He inwardly thanked the forbidden spell and the Li Yuan art. The beast had been stunned and unable to resist, letting him strike at full force and achieve such a result. The wounded creature, roused by its pain, ignored the gaping wound. The face on its front suddenly opened and expelled a beam of gray light that enveloped Luo Feng. Luo Feng shrank his body and darted like a streak of light into the chest wound, slipping inside the beast's body. The gray beam barely grazed his back, tearing away part of his robe and a sliver of skin before both recovered in an instant. The gray light was strong. As soon as he entered, the surrounding flesh pressed in on him. The purple blood, tinged with a gray sheen, corroded quickly, gnawing at the white robe of his Tianguang clone. The robe began to show many cuts, but its vitality made it mend just as fast. "Where's the life core?" Luo Feng growled, raking claws through flesh and bone to burrow deeper. The beast howled in pain as it felt something tearing through its insides. From a distance inside the black flying shuttle, Di Qing watched the fray with wide eyes. "Brother Luo Feng's strength," he murmured. Everyone knew even a low-level Hunyuan life at the God Emperor early stage had a formidable body, but Luo Feng had actually torn open its chest, burrowed inside, and seemed to be gaining the upper hand. Still, Di Qing knew how troublesome such creatures could be. Hunting teams in Yulan City generally took 3 to 5 Dao comprehension experts at the God Emperor early stage to bring one down. Killing one solo was rare. He'd come along because he was already pushing into the God Emperor middle stage. As Luo Feng resisted the blood's corrosion and hunted for the life core, the beast's eyes suddenly went cold. With a soundless shudder, it turned into a vast gray mist. Its flesh and blood form dissolved into vapor. Its physical toughness and explosive power dropped, but its ability to flee, hide, and launch sneak attacks multiplied. Luo Feng found himself surrounded by endless gray mist. The mist's corrosive nature was worse than the blood. The Tianguang clone's robe began to fray, but the clone's vitality kept it regenerating. From within the mist, sharp claws lashed at him, striking his chest, back, and legs in rapid succession. Some blows tore through the robe. The world clone, however, thick-skinned with 300 times the energy reserve, took them as nothing. They were minor scratches, healed in a blink. "This cultivator's physique is tougher than mine?" The gray mist recoiled in surprise. Its claws could barely scratch him. He recovered instantly. Low-level Hunyuan lives were famed for their bodies and vitality, but this cultivator seemed even stronger. His techniques were deeper, and he wielded powerful secret treasures. It had no wish to be entangled. The mist tried to flee. Luo Feng didn't let it. He merged the Tianguang clone with a vast domain and unleashed his forbidden spell, Palm World. This forbidden move, built from 8 ultimate realm methods of the path of creation and destruction and modeled after the innate secret treasure Palm World, was tailor-made for the Tianguang clone. A colossal illusory palm appeared, and within it an entire world in miniature. The gray mist inside slowed to a crawl under the Palm World's suppression. Recognizing the danger, the mist split into 9 streams and scattered. Luo Feng's time clone struck next, using its forbidden spell, Time Walker. Attacking from past, present, and future, the time clones smashed one stream after another. Splitting into many streams aided escape, but also weakened each fragment's combat power. They could not withstand the forbidden spells of the path of creation and destruction. One by one, the mist streams were torn apart. 7 of the 9 were shattered by the time clone's assaults. As the 7th disintegrated, a spherical mass rolled out, spinning. Life core! Luo Feng's eyes flared. The true core of the low-level Hunyuan life had been hiding in that 7th stream. The time clone's strike had affected it, but hadn't destroyed it. Destroy! The world clone, backed by the Palm World's suppression, closed in on the life core sphere. Luo Feng's right hand lashed out like lightning. His 5 fingers were blades. With the secret treasure gloves on, he didn't need to cast any forbidden spell. Activating the gloves' patterns released power on par with forbidden techniques. That was the edge of secret treasures. A dramatic strengthening of a cultivator's attacks. No! The sphere keened as Luo Feng's fingers sliced through it, leaving 3 deep gouges. All the fleeing mist streams then stopped, merged, and reconstituted into the 3-faced gray-winged beast once more, now a massive, torn corpse. It collapsed to the ground with a thunderous crash that shook the earth. Luo Feng let out a long breath and smiled. Finally, I took down a low-level Hunyuan life. He descended to stand beside the huge carcass, feeling the effort it had taken. He'd used everything: spells, the Li Yuan art, and forbidden techniques tied to his cause-effect, time, and Tianguang clones. Only the secret treasure gloves had delivered the finishing blow. It was the weakest kind of low-level Hunyuan life at the God Emperor, early stage, and yet it had forced him to go all out. The black flying shuttle drew near, and Di Qing stepped out, looking at Luo Feng in disbelief and admiration. "Brother Luo Feng, just now you fought it head-on and suppressed it completely," he said. "If that initial strike was a sneak attack, your world clone took the repeated mist assaults and shrugged them off. You killed it solo. Among Dao comprehension at the God Emperor early stage, only a very few can take down a low-level Hunyuan life by themselves." Di Qing's expectations had been surpassed. He had thought Luo Feng might be an average Dao comprehension at that stage, especially after losing treasures like the 9-story small pagoda. But this display of strength made him genuinely pleased. With Luo Feng by his side, they could face more dangerous prey and earn better rewards. "Low-level Hunyuan lives all have different talents," Luo Feng said with a smile. "I just happened to have the right counters for this 3-faced Greywing beast. If it had been another type, I might have been helpless." "That's why we team up," Di Qing chuckled. "All right, put the prey away. This is your first low-level Hunyuan life kill." Luo Feng nodded and gathered the corpse. Di Qing offered magnanimously, "Since you hunted it alone, it's yours." Luo Feng shook his head. "No need. We agreed to split the spoils evenly." Di Qing had suggested the split initially to help Luo Feng. He'd been in Yulan City longer and had more wealth, but now he admitted a fair split was appropriate. Luo Feng hadn't taken advantage. Close combat specialists with tremendous physical bodies were prized by hunting teams in Yulan City. Clones and their recovery made such fighters rare and valuable. "Ha ha ha, fine," Di Qing said, not arguing. One low-level Hunyuan life between them was no big deal. "By the way, Brother Luo Feng, how much is this worth?" "This is a low-level Hunyuan life at the God Emperor, early stage. From my experience, it's worth about 800,000 Hunyuan crystals," Di Qing replied. Luo Feng nodded. If it had been a God Emperor, middle stage, life, the value would be far higher, and even with both of them, taking one down might still be near impossible. "Let's keep hunting," Di Qing said, already fired up. He was eager for the next prey and the spoils their teamwork would bring. Chapter 283, Return, Happy New Year. A vast stretch of heaven and earth had twisted, forming a new world. Birds sang and flowers bloomed within it, but at its center stood a colossal creature carved from ice, glittering under the light. Mist poured from its maw and spread across more than half of the 3,000 worlds, yet it couldn't touch any cultivator. It was a low-level Hunyuan life form, a frost emissary. "Where are the cultivators? Where are they?" The frost emissary fretted. It specialized in ice and some soul techniques, but this time the cultivator had hidden far away and trapped it in a terrifying formation. 3,000 worlds, Heaven and earth killing intent. A cold voice rang out. Instantly, billions of sword lights appeared, rotating like gears as the formation came alive. Its power surged dramatically, overwhelming the frost emissary. No, the creature howled as the torrent of sword light enveloped it, tearing its body apart and rending its core. Facing absolute force, it had no escape. Its shattered corpse tumbled down. Di Qing appeared and casually collected the massive body. Though sliced, the corpse was largely intact and would fetch a hefty price. Impressive, Luo Feng said as he materialized beside him. Brother Di Qing, you're much more decisive than I am, and this 3,000 killing formation, it's far deeper than when we first sparred. When they'd sparred on the origin continent, Di Qing had used the 3,000 killing formation, but it hadn't been so refined then. I acquired a secret formation diagram, Di Qing said, smiling. It cost me 5 million Hunyuan crystals. It's a half-primordial origin-level diagram. With it, the 3,000 killing formation hits far harder. The Frost Emissary just happened to run into it. Luo Feng nodded. Di Qing was, after all, a Dao comprehension whose realm hovered at the God-Emperor threshold in the middle stage. His accumulation was deeper. With a suitable secret treasure formation diagram, the burst of power he could unleash surpassed Luo Feng's. Thunder flashed violently across the sky. Luo Feng's world clone tried to entangle it, but this massive lightning had no interest in fighting him. It focused on escaping, forcing through the edge of the 3,000 worlds and vanishing in an instant. That was my mistake, Di Qing said, appearing beside him, shaking his head. Brother Luo Feng, you used your will to force that thunder lynx into its true form, but I didn't finish it in one strike. It immediately recovered and fled. We both gave our all, Luo Feng admitted. It took the Tianjue curse and the Li Yuan art combined to blast the hidden thunder cloud into its original form, revealing a small, beast-like thunder lynx. Still, its will to live was tenacious. Even dazed, after enduring Di Qing's full-power formation strike, the creature could shed 90% of the blow and drag itself out of the formation. What a pity, Di Qing sighed. Although that Thunder Lynx was only a God Emperor, early-stage, low-level Hunyuan life form, its lightning mysteries were exceptional, worth about 300 Hunyuan crystals, but it's too hard to kill. Luo Feng agreed. Low-level Hunyuan life forms, born outside the cage, possessed many special talents. Some were even subtle enough to slip into a protected city like Yulan City, where elders and palace masters guarded the gates. That's why cultivators there sometimes suffered ambushes. But a city ambush was risky for such creatures. They had to be cautious lest they draw the attention of numerous elders. Luo Feng and Di Qing hunted together more and more, and their cooperation had grown efficient. Luo Feng's cause and effect clone, using Tianjue curse in concert with Li Yuan art, was excellent at dazing God Emperor, early-stage, low-level Hunyuan life, giving them a narrow window to strike. Luo Feng handled close combat and entanglement, while Di Qing's 3,000 killing formation encircled and tore enemies apart. The 3,000 killing formation was more than 10 times stronger than Luo Feng's world projection paired with his heaven and earth clone. One by one, God Emperor, early stage, low-level Hunyuan life forms fell to them. The black flying shuttle moved silently. Luo Feng opened the biomimetic extinction eye between his brows, watching carefully. Di Qing used his own detection techniques. Their methods differed, each had its strengths. Not far from them, a colossal entity had melded itself into the void, like part of the void itself. Tens of thousands of dense, long limbs wove the void like a loom, turning the boundless expanse into a net. Luo Feng and the shuttle had already flown into that web without noticing. The void net wove layer upon layer, enclosing them. Di Qing's face darkened. Something's wrong. What is it? Luo Feng asked. His spatial sense was inferior to Di Qing's. Go, now. Though Di Qing couldn't be certain, he vaguely felt a deep terror in the void. He piloted the black flying shuttle at full burst. As it shot forward, the net fully unfurled and enveloped them. It's the Void Weaver, both recognized, watching the creature erupt with formidable aura. Its size and presence let them estimate its strength. A Void Weaver at the God Emperor late stage. Run, neither hesitated. Faced with such a Void Weaver, even a God Emperor, middle stage, Dao comprehension, would flee. Di Qing stowed the shuttle. Useless now. while Luo Feng's time clone carried Di Qing into a future timeline. In that future line escape, the time clone and Di Qing fled desperately. They had prepared escape plans. Because Luo Feng carried only relatively cheap treasures and was durable in close combat, he naturally covered the rear and protected Di Qing, who held secret treasures. The formation diagram, the black flying shuttle, and life-saving items worth over 10 million Hunyuan crystals. Their current spoils, the 6 low-level Hunyuan corpses, were also temporarily in Di Qing's custody. As the time clone moved through future timelines, strands of void reached in and wrapped around them. This Void Weaver not only controls the void, but also reaches into time? Luo Feng had no choice. His time clone's ability came from an ultimate realm Hunyuan bloodline talent that could traverse past, present, and future simultaneously. Those who reached the God King's second realm on the path of time had comparable techniques. For those outside, Luo Feng's escape ability seemed formidable, but low-level Hunyuan life had escaped the cage and grown capable of manipulating time and causality. Tianjia Curse, La Yuan Art. The Tianjia Curse, 30% of the assault, and Li Yuan Art, 70%, struck the Void Weaver, slowing its pursuit. Luo Feng's mind and will were already at the God Emperor level, having been honed for countless years in the dream domain. Becoming a Tao comprehension and later mastering the great paths of life, destruction, and creation and destruction had pushed his will toward God Emperor late stage. This level let his forbidden arts affect the Void Weaver enough to buy them time. With the brief pause, the time clone carrying Di Qing moved rapidly through future lines and slipped beyond the Void Weaver's reach. The Void Weaver's influence on time had limits. Now I need to figure out a way to get clear, Luo Feng thought. Di Qing escaped. Luo Feng turned to stare at the vast Void Weaver, roaring in fury. His world clones split into 3. Each carried 100 times the usual energy reserves and surged in different directions. World projection, heaven and earth unity, heaven and earth evasion, kill. The 3 majestic world clones charged the Void Weaver. Inside the black flying shuttle, Di Qing watched Luo Feng. How many escaped? He asked. Only 1. My heaven and earth clone made it out in the chaos, Luo Feng said slowly. The frantic struggle of the cause and effect clone, world clone, and time clone had given that heaven and earth clone a chance. It had the broadest coverage and fled with incredible speed, carrying Luo Feng's only secret treasure glove. Luo Feng felt a pang. He'd lost a great deal of energy reserves, hundreds of times what his perfect divine body would normally have available. Rebuilding that would take centuries on the origin continent. Even in Yulan City, where energy was richer, without the aid of a small universe, absorption now was slow. Perhaps at higher realms, his recovery would quicken. You covered my retreat, Di Qing said with a grateful smile. I didn't even have to use my life-saving item. Life-saving items were precious in the 9 Rivers sacred world. Travelers from countless worlds who had no clones spared no expense to buy them. Some could even grant escape from half-primordial origin-level existences. The cheapest cost hundreds of Hunyuan crystals. Higher-grade ones had no limit. Some innate secret treasures and artifacts exchanged in the infinite space treasure trove were priceless. Di Qing, as a source world lifeform with clones, preferred not to waste on many life-saving items. You lost so many clones and energy. That counts for 50 Hunyuan crystals, Di Qing said, smiling. Those 6 origin life corpses are worth about 6.5 million Hunyuan crystals. I'd say you get 3.5 million. I get 3 million. Fine, Luo Feng agreed. Before they formed the team, they'd set rules. Spoils split evenly, but if one party suffered heavy losses protecting the hall, that party got first compensation from the shared spoils. Luo Feng's drained energy reserves would recover after a few hundred eras of cultivation. If Di Qing had been forced to use his life-saving item, it would have cost him 2 million Hunyuan crystals. He only had one such item. We did well. Time to go back, Di Qing said. The more prey we hunt, the higher the chance of encountering something dangerous. Although most low-level Hunyuan life they met were God Emperor early stage, pushing their luck could land them against far stronger foes. Today, it was a God Emperor late-stage Void Weaver. Next time, it could be a God Emperor perfect level. Could Di Qing escape with a single 2 million Hunyuan life-saving item then? It was uncertain. Luo Feng nodded. His clones were depleted and his strength reduced. Time to return to Yulan City. His clones there still had ample reserves. With over 3 million Hunyuan crystals in hand, he planned to study exchanges in the infinite space treasure trove when they returned. Having mastered the path of creation and destruction, he could expect better rewards from the infinite space. The black flying shuttle re-entered cautiously. The closer they came to Yulan City, the more likely they were to run into cultivator patrols. Di Qing piloted in wide circles, and with Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye guiding him, they narrowly avoided detection and made it back through the city gate. We're back. As the shuttle coasted into the city, Luo Feng and Di Qing finally exhaled. Fangqi wishes everyone a happy year of the snake. May the new year bring you joy and every wish fulfilled. Fangqi will be visiting relatives and taking a break from New Year's Eve through the 5th day of the first lunar month, resuming updates on the 6th day. Chapter 284, Purchase. Although theft and the occasional robbery happened in Yulan City, the place was generally stable and safe. Let's sell the low-level Hunyuan corpses first, Di Qing said, steering the black flying shuttle toward the inner city with the easy confidence of someone experienced. Large-scale transactions for low-level Hunyuan bodies almost always happen at the Hunyuan Hall. The first floor of the Hunyuan Hall handles trading low-level Hunyuan corpses. The second floor deals with military merits, he explained. Military merits? Luo Feng asked. Di Qing chuckled. Killing low-level Hunyuan life earns military merits. Accumulate enough of them and you can exchange them for unimaginable treasures. Some items in the infinite space treasure trove, for example, can be bought with military merits. How many merits will our spoils bring this time? Luo Feng asked. God Emperor, early stage, low-level Hunyuan life are the weakest tier. 6 corpses equals 6 military merits, Di Qing said, shaking his head. We accumulate merits too slowly, so we usually sell the corpses and the merits together. From a corpse alone, you can't tell who killed it. Only by bringing a fresh corpse to the second floor for verification can the merits be registered under someone's name. Generally, only palace masters and elders bother collecting merits in bulk. Luo Feng nodded. As they spoke, a vast, imposing palace rose before them. It was deep cyan all over, a color so profound it seemed to hide an endless, brooding malice. Over countless years, the place had gathered an untold number of low-level Hunyuan bodies. Hunting was always risky. Success brought great profit. Failure could mean death. We've arrived at the Hunyuan Hall, Di Qing said. He parked the black flying shuttle and led Luo Feng to the main entrance of the first floor. The first floor was enormous, divided into 13 independent stalls where low-level Hunyuan corpses were traded. These 13 buyers each offer different prices, Di Qing said with a smile. Ask a few and sell to whoever pays the most. Brother Di Qing, a chubby old man called out when he saw them, greeting them warmly. Hunting again? Looks like you did well. Just risked my life as usual, Di Qing replied with a grin. Those from the source world have avatars. You're far stronger than us. The chubby man laughed. He was powerful enough to buy life-saving items, but seldom hunted anymore. Myriad World's powerhouses usually hunted far less often than those from the source world. We hunted 6 low-level Hunyuan bodies this time. See what price you can offer each, Di Qing told him as they sat down. The attendants immediately brought out delicacies and wine. And this, the chubby man asked, looking at Luo Feng. This is my brother Luo Feng, Di Qing introduced. I'm Bu Yu, in charge of stall number 3 on the first floor, the man said warmly. I hope brother Luo Feng will patronize my place in the future. Although he managed the stall, he wasn't its true owner. Only high-ranking elders could own such stalls. Luo Feng nodded. The two sides haggled. I'll ask a few others, Di Qing said when they finished. After checking with 3 familiar buyers, Di Qing sold the 6 low-level Hunyuan corpses to those 3 places. The corpses fetched a total of 6.8 million Hunyuan crystals, and the 6 military merits sold for another 600,000 Hunyuan crystals, 6.68 million Hunyuan crystals in total. There aren't many people selling low-level Hunyuan corpses today, Luo Feng observed, watching the transaction. He noted that no other hunters had come by. Yulan City has at most a few 100,000 hunting teams. They usually hunt only once every few hundred epochs or even longer. How much trading does the Hunyuan Hall do in one epoch anyway? Di Qing chuckled. They divided the spoils. You supported the rear significantly this time. I'll give you 500,000 Hunyuan crystals up front. The rest will be split evenly, he said, distributing the money. In the end, Luo Feng received 3.59 million Hunyuan crystals and Di Qing kept 3.09 million. I owe you 100,000 Hunyuan, Feng said. I can pay you back today. Di Qing nodded and flipped his hand, producing a dazzling polyhedron that shimmered with strange colors. Brother Luo Feng, how about I sell you this treasure for 90,000 Hunyuan crystals? Illusion World Maze? Luo Feng recognized it at a glance. It was a storage secret treasure, an Illusion World Maze, normally priced at 100,000 Hunyuan crystals in Yulan City. Few of them could be stolen. Almost every god emperor possessed one. Previously poor, Luo Feng had refused to buy one, but now with over 3 million Hunyuan crystals from his first hunt, he had no hesitation. Buy, buy, buy. Of course I'll buy it, he laughed. Brother Di Qing, where did you get an extra Illusion World Maze? It's easy to be ambushed outside, so there are also people who set counter-ambushes, Di Qing said with a smile. I managed to get a few. The shops list them at 100,000 Hunyuan, but if I sold to them, they'd only offer 80,000. Luo Feng understood. I knew you'd want one after this hunt, so I prepared it for you, Di Qing added. All right, we'll part here. I'm going to do some serious shopping. All right. Luo Feng refined the Illusion World Maze easily. It was a very high-level spatial secret treasure. Its mastery was perhaps at the half-primordial origin level, priced low only because it used simple materials and had a single function. After buying it, Luo Feng still had about 3.4 million Hunyuan crystals. He felt rich and planned a spending spree. Last time he had bought almost all the cheapest materials in Yulan City and left many things he wanted behind. Now he indulged himself. God Emperor's intelligence in Yulan City, 10,000 Hunyuan crystals a copy? I'll take one, he decided and casually purchased a copy. The intelligence came sealed in black jade that contained a mind curse technique. To read it, he had to actively cast the mind curse, using his spiritual power to apply it to himself. Luo Feng performed the technique. When it completed, the black jade dissipated and a flood of information merged into his consciousness. Detailed intelligence on a great number of god emperors in Yulan City. Yulan City Intelligence Report number 10,377. Current number of god emperors in Yulan City is approximately 3.47 million. We have collected intelligence on 3,397,020 god emperors. The file began listing the most prominent figures. First, Palace Master Wei Yang, Dao Comprehension at the half-primordial origin level. A powerhouse from the source world, likely the strongest presence in Yulan City. He once showcased an overwhelming physical body, single-handedly killing a god emperor perfect-level, low-level Hunyuan life. He also deployed terrifying formations to encircle and annihilate an entire low-level Hunyuan life clan. Only a handful escaped. The intelligence included combat scenes and analysis. Nearly 100 elders are confirmed on Palace Master Wei Yang's side. He leads the largest faction in Yulan City and controls 50% of trade share in the city. The three long-standing gangs responsible for theft and robbery inside the city, Insect Nest, Fanging Small Building, and Strange Workshop, have all pledged allegiance to Palace Master Wei Yang. Luo Feng read, stunned. The three gangs that brazenly stole and robbed in the city were backed by the faction led by Palace Master Wei Yang and nearly 100 elders, and that faction controlled half the city's trade share. Terrifying. Second, Palace Master Yuan Xiang. Dao Comprehension at the half-primordial origin level, a powerhouse from the source world, founder of Yulan City. He made immense contributions. During the city's founding, he led many elders in battles against low-level Hunyuan clans. In terms of explosive power, he may even surpass Wei Yang, but his physical body is relatively frail and chronically injured. As a powerhouse from the source world, he has multiple avatars, but each is injured. He is suspected of being corrupted by a high-level origin life. The intelligence contained multiple battle scenes of Yuan Xiang. He attacked from a distance with world-shattering power. His life fire seemed barely sustaining him. Seeing that he was the city founder, Luo Feng felt a measure of respect. Founding a city in the Nine Rivers sacred world had been an enormous task. Third, God Emperor Gai Tao. Tao comprehension at the half-primordial origin level. In the entire Nine Rivers sacred world, he ranks among the top 3 in artifact refining. He avoids conflict and leads only about 30 elders who study refining. His refined weapons and secret treasures are sold across many cities in the Nine Rivers sacred world. Gai Tao's weapons and treasures make his true strength unfathomable, perhaps not inferior to Palace Master Wei Yang. But he seldom acts, so his exact strength is hard to judge. Several included battle records showed Gai Tao acting casually yet lethally, releasing a spherical abyss that swallowed a God Emperor perfect level origin life, extending a massive palm that crushed an elder to death. Once he even swallowed a disciple whole. His physical body seemed as extraordinary as a secret treasure. Of the 3,397,020 God Emperors on file, the intelligence summarized 3 at Tao comprehension, half-primordial origin level, 723 at God Emperor late stage or comparable, 52,092 at God Emperor early stage or comparable, the rest primarily at God Emperor early stage. Yulan City did not recognize figures like Dai Qing, who barely reached God Emperor through bloodline power. Their minimum recognized threshold for a God Emperor was the God Emperor early stage Tao comprehension standard. We have also identified 53,021 suspected God Emperor early stage Tao comprehensions, the report added. The suspected list was brief. Entry number 51,029, Luo Feng, recently arrived in Yulan City, resides in the same cave as Dai Qing, suspected God Emperor early stage Tao comprehension, suspected powerhouse from the source world. Luo Feng smiled to himself. He was even recorded in the intelligence report, albeit near the end. Updates would resume on the 6th day of the Lunar New Year. Chapter 285, Return to the Origin Continent. After reading the intelligence, Luo Feng had a clearer picture of the overt and covert powers operating in Yulan City. Even the elders have to rely on the 3 hall masters, he mused. With hundreds of millions of cultivators and millions of God Emperors, Yulan City was a mammoth prize. If you didn't have enough strength, you didn't even get a bite. Someone like him, new and insignificant, could only rely on hunting. He grinned inwardly. The generous rewards he'd received in infinite space were proof that infinite space recognized his talent. He felt confident about his future. Luo Feng began procuring supplies. With the Illusion World Maze as a treasure storage artifact, he wasn't worried about theft. A few million Hunyuan crystals was a huge sum for a newcomer, but among God Emperors, it was pocket change. The biomimetic extinction eye on his brow opened and focused on a leaf-shaped remnant before him. It was the corpse remnant of a low-level Hunyuan life, an orderless devourer. Orderless devourers formed a sizable group of low-level Hunyuan life. This particular remnant came from one that had reached God Emperor, middle stage, strength. "What's the lowest price for this remnant material?" Luo Feng asked the attendant. The attendant smiled. "Next to each remnant, there's a detailed description and price. This one is listed at 5,000 Hunyuan crystals." Luo Feng narrowed his eyes. "I asked for the lowest price. I'm buying in bulk." Corpse remnants came from many sources. Different dealers priced them differently. Luo Feng wanted the cheapest possible rates so he could buy a lot. The attendant's smile widened. "If your total reaches 500,000 Hunyuan crystals, you get a 10% discount. If it reaches 5 million, it's 15%. That's the bottom." Luo Feng nodded. From the intelligence he'd gathered, extremely large transactions could be negotiated further down, but his funds weren't enough to merit special treatment. He glanced at the remnants and admitted to himself, "Still poor. Even for low-level leftovers, I can only afford the cheapest." A single scale or leaf contained far fewer secret patterns than a vital organ like a life core. Core parts had uses in refining artifacts and concocting pills, and their prices were astronomical. The cheaper remnants were acceptable. "I need a batch," Luo Feng said, and a detailed list appeared at his gesture. "This list totals 520,000 Hunyuan crystals." The attendant brightened. Big purchases benefited the seller too. "With the 10% discount, it's 468,000 Hunyuan crystals," he said briskly. "I'll prepare everything right away." Soon Luo Feng paid and received a storage bag filled with cultivation materials. He spent the day visiting every merchant in Yulan City, calculating the optimal way to buy based on his realm and the intelligence he'd gathered. In the end, he spent 3.22 million Hunyuan crystals and returned to his residence satisfied. Brother Luo Feng. In the shared garden of the cave mansion, Di Qing and Emperor Consort Di were drinking and chatting. Emperor Consort Dai greeted him enthusiastically. "How was your first hunting trip outside the city? Brother Di Qing has lots of experience, so the harvest was good," Luo Feng replied with a smile. "Congratulations," Di Qing said, a touch envious. He had joined a team made up of God Emperor early-stage bloodline cultivators, not the favored hunting teams of Yulan City, so they had to stick together. They were still recruiting and probably wouldn't set out for several hundred epochs. Their aim was modest. Killing a single God Emperor, early-stage, low-level Hunyuan life would count as success. They were poor, and raiding teams rarely bothered with them. Raiders preferred richer targets and avoided trouble. "Brother Luo Feng, I found a job at the Nine-Ring World Tower. If you ever need formations, come to me," Emperor Consort Di said happily. After some time in Yulan City, he'd passed the entrance test for the tower and secured a post. The tower master was an elder and one of the city's top formation masters. His lineage called itself the True Witch, a branch of the Dao comprehension line that didn't absorb Hunyuan bloodline but pursued the Dao's essence. Just then, Di Qing appeared from a distance. Luo Feng nodded. "After this hunting trip, I plan to go into seclusion for a while. The next hunt won't be for 200 or 300 epochs," Di Qing said. "I plan the same," Luo Feng replied. Every hunt was life and death. Even powerful cultivators digested their gains and consolidated strength in seclusion before venturing out again. Those from other worlds without clones were even more cautious. "All right, let me know when you come out of seclusion," Di Qing smiled. He was used to retreating into seclusion to make another leap forward. Though he'd one foot in God Emperor, middle stage, the next step required accumulation. Di Qing went into seclusion. Emperor Consort Di went to work at the Nine-Ring World Tower. Di Qing and his teammates continued to prepare for a future hunt. Luo Feng quietly boarded the official flying boat from Yulan City to Sacred Mountain. The fare was 1,000 Hunyuan crystals per ride, much higher than what Di Qing had charged last time. In the Nine Rivers Sacred World, there was only one official flying boat that ran each epoch. It passed through the 35 cities, ferrying passengers to Sacred Mountain and back. The 35 cities had strict rules. God Emperors could pilot flying boats to Sacred Mountain themselves, but they couldn't carry passengers. Sacred Mountain's rules differed, however, and on the return trip, God Emperors sometimes brought new cultivators back at a much lower price, often only a tenth of the official fare, though their speed and safety were a little inferior. Di Qing was skilled in the path of space and in formations, which was why he could pilot a flying boat alone. Luo Feng cultivated the path of creation and destruction, which made simple travel less efficient for him. Inside the official flying boat, the cabins were vast, packed with over 5,000 passengers. Judging by their auras, most were at the God Emperor level. Those below God Emperor were usually too poor to afford the trip. The boat was piloted by a God Emperor late-stage bloodline cultivator, a bit stronger than Di Qing, but the vessel itself was a special secret treasure with far greater speed. It passed one city after another. Some cultivators disembarked, some boarded, and the fare remained a uniform 1,000 Hunyuan crystals. Even taking a detour, the official flying boat reached Sacred Mountain in 2 days. More than half the passengers disembarked. Luo Feng looked at the majestic peak and the deep pool at its base, where over 100 figures had gathered. "This is the official flying boat of the Nine Rivers Sacred World," the pilot, a burly God Emperor named Rank, announced, his aura vast and terrifying. "The fare is 1,000 Hunyuan crystals, or equivalent per person. From any of the 35 cities, you can reach any other by taking this boat." One by one, over 100 figures boarded. Luo Feng, however, headed to the deep pool. Splash! He leaped in. Immersed in the pool, he instantly sensed a dense web of spatial coordinates and locked onto the most familiar, Origin continent. A water droplet enveloped him, and with a whoosh, he left the Nine Rivers Sacred World. The droplet raced through Hunyuan space at incredible speed. Massive source worlds flashed past, appearing before his eyes and then vanishing behind him. Even though it was his second time experiencing such travel, he still found it astonishing. Finally, a familiar source world filled his vision. Origin Continent. Joy lit Luo Feng's face. In an instant, the water droplet entered Origin Continent. In a remote area of the Heavenly Extremes ice plains, a droplet fell into a gloomy, deep pool in a valley, and Luo Feng emerged from it. "I'm back," he looked around. Only one of his clones had returned. His other clones remained in Yulan City. He checked the storage bag and smiled. "All the treasures I procured came back with me." Comprehending a lot of low-level Hunyuan life remnants in the Nine Rivers sacred world was inefficient. On Origin Continent, with the eye of creation and destruction to observe and the ability to exchange for treasures from the infinite space treasure trove, it would be far more efficient. With a thought, Luo Feng remotely locked onto Huyang City and in a single step was back home. Thanks to the new Alliance Masters, Blade King He, Dead King Shi, Philaria, Little Z Great Demon King, and Old Taoist Qingchen for their generous donations. Thank you to these 5 new Alliance Masters for your support. Chapter 286, The Highest Reward Points in Infinite Space. Inside the Star Tower, Luo Feng sat cross-legged, his eye of creation and destruction open, scanning the densely packed horde before him. Feathers, blood, bones, scales, membranes, leaves, branches, sap, roots. Mists, strange liquids, peculiar secret substances, a bewildering variety, all from low-level Hunyuan life. Materials from God Emperor early stage, low-level Hunyuan life, roughly 5,000 lots total, averaging 300 Hunyuan crystals per lot. For this God Emperor early tier in the Nine Rivers sacred world, I've collected at least 90% of all low-level Hunyuan life materials related to life and destruction, Luo Feng thought. He had bought everything available in Yulan City. Of course, he'd only been able to afford the common parts. Deeper, more valuable components were prohibitively expensive. For a single feather, the secret patterns are few, but by buying a dozen parts, blood, bone, membrane, the combined secret patterns and mysteries should equal 80 to 90% of that life's Hunyuan bloodline. This was Luo Feng's poverty strategy. If he had been rich, he could have purchased a refined Hunyuan bloodline, or even a life core directly. Those would contain every secret pattern of a low-level Hunyuan being. Materials from God Emperor, middle stage, low-level life. Only 200 lots, average 3,500 Hunyuan crystals per lot. God Emperor, late stage materials, only 10 lots, average 40,000 per lot. For God Emperor perfect level low-level life, I only managed to buy a bottle of ordinary blood for 390,000 Hunyuan crystals. He sighed. The stronger the low-level Hunyuan life, the more evolved its bloodline. And God Emperor perfect level individuals are often pushed to their limits, one awakening away from becoming high-level origin life. They're extremely hard to kill. In all of Yulan City, only the 3 Hall Masters stood a chance in a one-on-one fight, and even they moved cautiously. These low-level Hunyuan beings are not stupid. They're members of groups and tribes, cunning and prone to ambush. In intelligence, they were comparable to the Origin Continent average. In group battles, cultivators would lose. That was why cultivators hid in cities. If I'd hunted these myself, collecting so many parts would have been as hard as ascending to heaven, Luo Feng said, letting his eye of creation and destruction roam the countless samples. But in the Nine Rivers sacred world, trading makes it easy. Yulan City offered not only materials, but auxiliary cultivation items, weapons, secret treasures, even inheritances. Luo Feng had focused on materials. He believed senior Yuan, self-exploration, was the best path. Perfect inheritances and special inheritances forbade disseminating content above the God King level. Brutal lessons had taught senior Yuan and his peers that overpowered inheritances could ruin a cultivator's path. High and mid-grade inheritances still affected direction, so Luo Feng preferred to take everything as his teacher and find his own way. Under his eye of creation and destruction, even seemingly ordinary gold-colored blood revealed over 10 times more secret patterns than when he'd examined it in Yulan City with his biomimetic extinction eye. That method was only God Emperor level for observation. The eye of creation and destruction, with high-level Hunyuan perceptive power, could almost completely see through many low-level Hunyuan materials. It was worth trading for the eye, he thought. These 5,000-plus lots will be the cornerstone of my path. Huyang City, above the City Lord's Mansion Tower. Morosa. The summons made Molo pause, then spring up to the pavilion roof to find his master, Luo Feng, drinking alone. "Master," he said eagerly, "you're out of seclusion?" Luo Feng had largely secluded himself on the origin continent, only emerging occasionally. Luo Feng waved a hand. "Some gifts for you." A complete set of weapon secret treasures flew out and floated before Morosa. He examined them, quickly refining and integrating the armor into his body, the helmet into his skull, and the gloves sharpening his claws. A formation diagram hovered at his side. A full set of 8 weapon secret treasures, and all Path of Destruction super secret treasures? Morosa's eyes shone. Super secret treasures above the God King level were rare on the origin continent. Ones suited to a path were rarer still. Even the set Luo Feng had taken from Emperor Yuan had been sold off because it didn't fit him. "These suit me perfectly. I can even glimpse the path beyond the God King level," Morosa breathed. "They won't let me break through. Seeing the higher path only shows me how hard it is." Morosa grinned. "Still, with these treasures my strength will surge. On the origin continent, apart from a few god emperors like you, I'll be able to suppress everyone else. Even the Lord of Fangji Kingdom didn't have such a complete armory." Luo Feng smiled. Go on, go on." Morosa, the strongest of Luo Feng's subordinates, would be needed to preside over many matters in the Galaxy God Country and the Dao River sect. The set was partly a reward for his merit. A full set of God Emperor early-stage secret treasures is cheap, Luo Feng reflected. These weapons were all God Emperor early level, used by those below the God Emperor tier in Yulan City. The armor and formation diagram cost a bit more. The whole set had cost only 35,000 Hunyuan crystals. Overall, he'd spent about 100,000 Hunyuan crystals on weapons and auxiliary treasures for Morosa, Dao River disciples, and friends. Their strengths were low, so the cheapest items sufficed. On the origin continent, treasures and medicines painstakingly refined by God King ultimates sold for miserable sums. "I'm not stingy," Luo Feng said, "but if I'd given Morosa treasures that were too good, he couldn't fully utilize them. He reserved more precious gifts for when disciples performed great deeds or advanced. As for his master, Di Chu, an emperor of the Yanfeng ancient kingdom, ordinary treasures were beneath him." Luo Feng was still short of funds. He planned more hunts before presenting truly worthy gifts. His master could wait another 1,000 or 2,000 epochs. "My path of creation and destruction has reached the ultimate realm. Time to claim the reward points," Luo Feng thought. On a lake island in infinite space, Luo Feng practiced the path of creation and destruction. With the Tao fully comprehended, his moves flowed effortlessly. He invoked World in the Palm, a vast, illusory palm larger than the island, and at its center, a miniature world formed. Within that palm world, Luo Feng, like a creator, freely cast Ultimate Realm secret methods, even combining forbidden techniques. A message flashed from the imprint on his palm. Infinite space had confirmed his breakthrough. "Trialist, Luo Feng of the origin continent, you have opened a complete new Grand Dao. This Grand Dao is formed by integrating life and destruction as its foundation. Its base far surpasses ordinary Grand Daos. New Grand Dao evaluation. Perfect. Reward points, 200,000 points. You have received full reward points for opening a Grand Dao. Before transcending the cage, if your spiritual will can transcend the cage one step ahead, you will also receive the highest reward for spiritual will. Since the establishment of infinite space, fewer than 100 individuals have received the highest rewards for both opening a Grand Dao and spiritual will. Over 70% of them have already transcended the cage. Reminder, killing any spiritual beings is forbidden. Violators will be permanently expelled from infinite space. Total reward points, 254,093.03 points. Luo Feng smiled. 200,000 points at once, he was suddenly much richer. The Eye of Creation and Destruction that had helped his path had cost 120,000 points. Now he could afford 2 similar treasures. It was clear Senior Yuan and the others favored those with exceptional talent. Fewer than 100 people got both highest rewards. Over 70% transcended the cage. Luo Feng reflected. That left a little over 20% who hadn't, either dead or still cultivating. The success rate was impressive. Even at the God Emperor level, some spiritual wills needed to transcend the cage, a legendary bottleneck in the dark sacred world. Luo Feng wasn't in a rush. His spiritual will hadn't yet reached the God Emperor limit. He would see how hard transcending the cage truly was in time. Chapter 287, Emperor Qing with Complicated Emotions. Luo Feng studied the infinite space treasure trove, which now displayed even more information about its various items. He wasn't entirely confident. He was still at the God Emperor, early stage, and his mental will might break free from the cage prematurely. The more than 250,000 reward points could be all he had to use for now. He needed to reserve enough points for when he reached the half-primordial origin level. For now, it made sense to buy something relatively cheap but useful later. His gaze swept the list and settled on a sensible choice: the secret treasure, Undying Heart. He exchanged for it immediately. The Undying Heart was indestructible, contained infinite vitality, could strengthen the physical body, and could condense an auxiliary battle body, ideal for practitioners of the path of life and destruction. It cost 43,000 reward points. Under 100,000 points, this was essentially the only secret treasure on the list that fit both life and destruction. Weapons and secret treasures sold in Yulan City were usually refined by God Emperors, and once Luo Feng reached half-primordial origin, even a God Emperor perfect level refinement would offer little help. But the items in the infinite space treasure trove, judging by their descriptions, were refined by beings who had already broken free from the cage. After the exchange, his reward points in infinite space fell to 211,093.03. According to his plan, he had intended to wait until half-primordial origin to buy major tools. Still, this purchase made sense now. Back at the Huyang City Lord's Mansion in Origin Continent, inside the Star Tower's secluded chamber, the safest place for cultivation, Luo Feng examined the azure pearl of the Undying Heart. With the eye of creation and destruction opening on his brow, he perceived endless, profound secret patterns inside the pearl, vast as a remnant of a special life. At the core, he faintly glimpsed a drop of scorching blood drop. All the patterns seemed to spring from it. This pearl must be refined around a drop of blood drop, he thought. Judging from its depth, that drop should come from a world-level Hunyuan life. That's why the pearl contains infinite vitality and is indestructible. Power from a world-level Hunyuan life was more than sufficient to be labeled infinite vitality for a God Emperor-level practitioner. Luo Feng felt satisfied. Between the Eye of Creation and Destruction and the Undying Heart, he now had two of the most suitable treasures for his current needs. There were other auxiliary cultivation rarities in infinite space, saplings that granted constant inspiration as you cultivated beneath them, making one day feel like 1,000, and occasionally triggering enlightenment, wisdom books that could analyze everything and study the great path, far more powerful in some ways than his Eye of Creation and Destruction. He had discovered these only after his reward points rose above 250,000. Treasure was limitless, points were limited. He needed to spend them wisely. Luo Feng sat calmly. Undying Heart, Eye of Creation and Destruction, Star Tower. He could now better understand how creation and destruction combined. First learn how to combine, then how to fuse. He produced a Hunyuan crystal and consumed it, beginning to study dense, low-level Hunyuan life materials. Through his Eye of Creation and Destruction, those low-level materials revealed themselves completely. There were no secrets left to hide. Luo Feng already possessed at least 90% of the God Emperor, early stage, low-level Hunyuan life species cataloged from the Nine Rivers sacred world. That breadth let him glimpse the many possibilities on the paths of life and destruction. Life and destruction branched into countless directions. The variety astonished him. He had once set lofty goals to envelop every mystery of life and destruction and integrate them into his own great path. Now, seeing how massive and tangled the mysteries were, many even opposed one another, he felt a new humility. Could one truly encompass every branch and fuse them into a single perfect path? Was that even possible? The more you understand, the larger the sky seems, Luo Feng murmured, a smile on his face. This is interesting. This path is infinitely long. I can keep pushing forward. He resolved to proceed step by step, absorb what he could, classify patterns, and slowly take in what fit his own path. He had reached the God Emperor, early stage, in the path of life, pursuing colossal life forms by the 105th epoch since returning to Origin Continent, and his path of destruction reached God Emperor, early stage, by the 139th epoch. After both reached God Emperor, early stage, he slowed them down to focus on the fusion of creation and destruction. The two paths provided the foundational material for his life and destruction great path. How they developed would be dictated by the needs of the fused path. If reaching God Emperor, early stage, in life and destruction had difficulty 1, then forming the creation and destruction fusion to the same level was at least a difficulty of 10. Luo Feng felt the challenge. The life and destruction great path at the God King Ultimate Realm had been formed by fusing 9 major branches. It was like a seed. If the seed was strong, the tree would grow large and majestic. Before he knew it, the 269th epoch had arrived, and his path of creation and destruction still had many confusions. It had not yet reached God Emperor, early stage. It was at this moment that Di Qing started inviting him out on hunts again. "Hunting, I'll prepare. Give me an epoch and I can set out," Luo Feng replied. Di Qing had no objections. Luo Feng being able to depart within 1 epoch was already quick. On the Origin Continent side, Luo Feng took a physical body with an enormous energy reserve, 390 times that of a perfect divine body, along with the storage secret treasure Illusion World Maze, and began his return journey. He left the undying heart behind in infinite space for now. His current strength was still limited. Carrying too powerful a treasure might invite trouble. Repeated hunting would be risky while he remained relatively weak. When he could contend with God Emperor perfect level, low-level Hunyuan life, bringing the undying heart would be much safer. By then his strength might rival the 3 Hall Masters, and even if he could not defeat them, he would be able to protect himself. On the Origin Continent side, absorbing energy with his small universe was still fast. With his massive energy reserve in the physical body, it took him nearly half an epoch to return to Yulan City. Traveling between Origin Continent and the 9 Rivers Sacred World allowed him to send resources back and forth. The Origin Continent's energy reserves could be transferred, and he could observe resources with the Eye of Creation and Destruction. The only cost was travel. "We're ready. Let's go." With preparations complete on both sides, Di Qing and Luo Feng set off on their second team hunt. During the hunt, when Luo Feng attacked the first low-level Hunyuan life, the power he displayed surprised Di Qing. It wasn't merely that Luo Feng could kill the prey. Di Qing expected that. It was the casual ease with which he did it. "You've broken through?" Di Qing asked with disbelief. "No," Luo Feng shook his head. "I cultivate both the path of life and the path of destruction, and both have reached God Emperor, early stage. The combined force is what makes it so strong." Di Qing understood. Practitioners who comprehend 2 paths were often stronger, but for 2 God Emperor, early stage paths to rival a single normal God Emperor, early stage Dao comprehension, those paths had to cooperate flawlessly. Luo Feng had long studied how to fuse creation and destruction, so the cooperation between his 2 paths was exceptional. "I always thought, Brother Luo Feng, you just arrived at the 9 Rivers Sacred World, and I'd have to help you early on. Who would have thought that in only the second hunt you'd be carrying the team instead?" Di Qing shook his head with a rueful smile. "We need to renegotiate the distribution of spoils." "I don't have many secret treasures, just this pair of gloves," Luo Feng said. "My strength is only a little stronger than yours, so there's no need to change the ratio." Di Qing had adventured in Yulan City far longer and had more wealth. His secret treasure formation diagrams made up for some realm deficiencies. He could see that during this hunt, Luo Feng's contribution far exceeded his own. When their 2 paths were unleashed, the power was terrifying, especially since Luo Feng could produce multiple clones. Di Qing's feelings were complex. He was useful now, but if Luo Feng widened the gap further, they might have to part ways. For the moment, he took 3/10 of the spoils, which he felt was fair given his continuing usefulness to the team. By the end of the hunt, They had killed 9 God Emperor, early stage, low-level Hunyuan life. 9 is our limit when hunting, Di Qing advised. The further we go, the greater the risks. We might attract attention from God Emperor perfect level life. All right, let's withdraw, Luo Feng agreed. He respected Di Qing's experience. Even though his own strength had grown, Di Qing's hunting expertise still justified an equal split of the spoils. They returned smoothly, both mindful of what the future might bring. Chapter 288, Their Own Practice. Luo Feng and Di Qing, carrying the spoils from their second hunt, piloted the black flying shuttle and began the return trip. They stayed as cautious as ever. A flying shuttle is approaching. Be careful. A silent warning came from the void. Vast, invisible fluctuations had wrapped the area. 3 figures, hidden in a formation, had already detected the shuttle. Let them move deeper into the formation, then we'll act, one of them ordered. The 3 waited patiently. Inside the shuttle, Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye remained open. Since both the path of life and the path of destruction had reached God Emperor early stage, the eye had advanced too. Its observational powers had become far keener. Luo Feng sensed something wrong. Di Qing, retreat at maximum speed, he transmitted. Di Qing hadn't detected anything, but he trusted Luo Feng's instincts. The void looked normal, and no enemy was visible, but Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye showed an abnormality. The local operation of heaven and earth rules had been infiltrated by a shadow rule. The deeper into the area, the stronger that shadow's influence. The black flying shuttle suddenly reversed course and shot away at extreme speed. We've been exposed, Di Qing said. They discovered us. Trap them. A dense shadow power descended, plunging the surrounding billion-kilometer region into darkness. The shuttle was caught in the viscous, restraining shadow power, but it was near the boundary. Luo Feng acted. Heaven and earth unity, he shouted. World opening. A towering avatar of his heaven and earth manifestation appeared, wielding a right hand like a giant axe that chopped down furiously. Where it struck, the world itself seemed cleft in two. A vast rift tore the heavens and earth open. This was Luo Feng's forbidden technique, world opening, born after his life and destruction paths reached God Emperor, early stage, and shaped by his heaven and earth avatar. The rift temporarily split even the dense shadow power. The black flying shuttle dove into the rift and shot through. Its speed soared, and in an instant it burst out beyond the shadow's influence. The towering avatar followed the rift and teleported out with it. Once safely clear, Di Qing finally exhaled. Brother Luo Feng, they should be from the 10,000 Shadows small building, he transmitted. If we'd been trapped in their formation, it would have been bad. This formation is powerful. My heaven and earth avatar only managed to crack it, Luo Feng replied, feeling how troublesome the opponents had been. Laughter rang out. 3 distorted shadows condensed into 3 figures in gray robes and masks. An invisible suppression spread around them. It really is the 10,000 Shadows small building, Luo Feng and Di Qing realized. In Yulan City, 3 factions specialized in theft and plunder: the Insect Hive, the 10,000 Shadows small building, and the Strange Workshop, all under Deputy Palace Master Wei Yang. The 10,000 Shadows plunderers concealed their auras and faces. Plunderers were usually mid to high-level members, and especially dangerous. Those plundering generally were Dao comprehension experts at God Emperor, mid-stage. You 2 dared to hunt together. Must be some confidence, one of the gray-robed figures mocked. You know the rules of plunder, right? We do, Di Qing said. We'll offer Hunyuan crystals. We don't want much. Leave 1 low-level Hunyuan life corpse and we'll let you go, the gray-robed leader said. Di Qing and Luo Feng exchanged a look. Di Qing nodded and waved. He released a low-level Hunyuan life corpse, the cheapest of their spoils, worth about 800,000 Hunyuan crystals. The leader collected it. That was straightforward, he said, and the 3 shadows twisted and vanished. Let's go. The black flying shuttle skirted the shadow formation area and continued back to Yulan City. Inside the shuttle, they discussed the danger. When hunting outside, besides low-level Hunyuan life, other cultivators are a threat, Di Qing said. Ordinary plunderers we can handle, even kill if needed. But if we meet strong ones, it's trouble. If we can escape, we escape. If paying Hunyuan crystals keeps us safe, we pay. If they want to kill and seize treasures, we fight for our lives. Luo Feng nodded. From the brief exchange, those three were likely God Emperor, mid-stage, Dao comprehension experts who've had a long accumulation and possessed no shortage of secret treasures. Even together, Luo Feng and Di Qing would have lacked confidence in defeating them. After a while, the shuttle reached Yulan City. "We were lucky," Di Qing said, smiling. "On our first hunt, we met a God Emperor, late-stage, low-level Hunyuan life and escaped, and on the way back from this hunt, offering that low-level corpse kept us from disaster." "You call that luck?" Luo Feng asked. "It's good luck," Di Qing said. "Hunting is dangerous. You might encounter an ultra-strong, low-level Hunyuan life and lose the whole team, or meet plunderers who don't follow rules and they take everything. You'll understand when you hunt more." Luo Feng listened. For God Emperor, early-stage cultivators in Yulan City, risk was part of life. They could be plundered even after surviving a hunt. Di Qing added, "I come from a source world and have avatar techniques. Otherwise, life would be much harder." "Cultivation isn't easy here," Di Qing said, then glanced at Luo Feng. "But brother Luo Feng, you're different. You have the strength of a God Emperor, mid-stage, Dao comprehension expert. Buy some secret treasures to round out your methods and you can join any faction." "In Yulan City there are many factions," he explained. "God Emperor, mid-stage, Dao comprehension experts are core members. Elder-level cultivators are rarer." Luo Feng smiled and said no more. As they spoke, the black flying shuttle arrived at the towering Hunyuan Hall. "Let's sell the spoils first." They landed and headed inside. The remaining 8 low-level Hunyuan life corpses plus battle merits fetched 8.6 million Hunyuan crystals. They split it evenly. After dividing the money, they went their separate ways to buy materials. Luo Feng spent the next day carefully comparing vendors in Yulan City, asking prices for materials suitable to the path of life and the path of destruction. He bargained and shopped meticulously. In the end, he bought about 1,000 sets of God Emperor, mid-stage, low-level Hunyuan life materials, paying roughly 3,300 Hunyuan crystals per set. He estimated this covered at least 90% of the materials available across the Nine Rivers sacred world. The rest were rare and hard to find. He also bought auxiliary cultivation pills and other items costing 900,000 Hunyuan crystals. 3 days after the purchases, one of his avatars carried everything back to the origin continent using the storage treasure illusion world maze. Luo Feng insisted the maze be carried personally. He feared theft. Different cultivation systems made guarding valuables tricky. In the origin continent, with the Eye of Creation and Destruction, cultivation efficiency really is more than 10 times higher than in Yulan City, Luo Feng thought. For now, he planned to make round trips back to the origin continent after each of his first several hunts. Later, once wealthier, he might go less often. Word traveled fast in their shared cave dwelling. Emperor Consort and Di Qing naturally knew they'd returned from a second hunt. "Looks like it went smoothly," Emperor Consort said. Di Qing sat cross-legged in his own room, expression sour. "Since I came to Yulan City, I've already hunted once, and it was a disaster." He explained why normal hunting teams in Yulan City avoided God Emperor, early-stage, bloodline cultivators. Their positive contribution was often negligible, and they could be a liability. "My team had 32 members, all God Emperor, early-stage bloodline cultivators. We studied cooperation methods for a long time. We were lucky to find a God Emperor, early-stage, low-level Hunyuan life. If it had been stronger, we probably would have been wiped out. We executed 7 sets of encirclement techniques perfectly, but the creature's body was too tough, its life force too strong. After 7 sets of encirclement, it was badly injured, but not dead. In its desperate counterattack, it killed 7 of our members, gravely injured over a dozen, and the rest fled in panic. 32 of us couldn't even kill 1 low-level Hunyuan life." Di Qing shook his head. "I'll use Yulan City's resources to cultivate and try to break through." On the surface, he seemed poor, but as someone with infinite space rewards, Di Qing had substantial wealth. He just had to be careful in using it. He hadn't even cultivated an avatar technique yet, and had to be prudent. Emperor Consort, meanwhile, had been learning within the Nine-Ring World Tower. The true witch lineage inheritance had given him great gains in the Void lineage. He felt he was approaching a full comprehension of the great Tao of space. If he could complete that Tao, he might have a chance to live into the next era, even on the origin continent. He felt fortunate he had come to Yulan City. Exposure to so many cultivation systems and resources had lowered the difficulty of breaking through his bottleneck. With Luo Feng and Di Qing looking after him, his life in the city felt secure. Back in his quiet room, Di Qing looked at a jade bowl with an amber-like liquid. Brother Luo Feng already has the strength of a god emperor, mid-stage, Dao comprehension expert. He surpasses me, he murmured. He had been stuck at the final bottleneck too long. 80 million Hunyuan crystals, he whispered. He had sold many treasures and saved for this one gamble, a single portion of void marrow fluid. All his accumulated wealth had been exchanged for it. He took a steadying breath, then opened his mouth. The amber liquid leaped up from the jade bowl and flowed down his throat. Chapter 287, 700 Epochs in Yulan City. Time passed. The black flying shuttle was already on its way back to Yulan City. In the shuttle's front hall, Di Qing piloted, reading the surroundings with focused senses. Luo Feng sat beside him, his biomimetic extinction eye open, scanning the vast landscape, but inwardly he felt a trace of melancholy. It's been over 700 epochs since I came to Yulan City, he thought. This is my third hunt with Di Qing, and my path of creation and destruction still hasn't broken through to early-stage God Emperor. 700 epochs was a long stretch. On the origin continent, he had only needed 500 epochs to rise from eternal true God to someone capable of killing an Emperor Yuan. For a single path, life or destruction, I could have reached early-stage God Emperor with little trouble. Fusing the two is a whole different matter, he murmured, shaking his head. Luo Feng had used auxiliary cultivation treasures, scrutinized countless low-level Hunyuan lifeforms with his eye of creation and destruction, and relied on the Undying Heart, the Star Tower, and other aids. His cultivation had advanced in leaps, yet the path of creation and destruction was vast and deep. Brother Luo Feng, I thought after this third hunt, if I broke through to early-stage God Emperor, my strength would be comparable to yours, Di Qing said, still feeling stirred. Who would have expected you to take another giant step since the last hunt? I only created a body technique, Luo Feng replied modestly. Your body technique is terrifying, Di Qing said. I barely reached early-stage God Emperor, and with the two of us together, I never imagined we could kill even a low-level early-stage God Emperor Hunyuan life. Luo Feng smiled. Indeed, on this hunt, they had killed 7 low-level early-stage God Emperor Hunyuan lifeforms in total, one of them a Yanzheng beast that Luo Feng had finished off almost single-handedly. Di Qing had used his sword array to support, but it was Luo Feng's body technique, his entire form sheathed in scarlet scales, that had turned the tide. The scales offered astonishing defense. The Yanzheng beast's furious assaults only cracked them slightly, and the wounds healed instantly. Meanwhile, every strike Luo Feng landed opened terrible wounds in the beast. He dragged it with one hand, struck with the other, and rolling waves of blood swept around until the Yan beast could no longer escape. My body is only comparable to that of a low-level early-stage God Emperor, Luo Feng said with a smile. It was true. His body alone matched theirs, and his killing techniques, defensive comprehension, and 2 great secret treasures let him completely suppress that beast. To be almost on par with a low-level early-stage God Emperor's body is terrifying, Di Qing said with feeling. They have the body, we have the realm. With your realm and that body, you can hunt a low-level early-stage God Emperor one-on-one. A typical early-stage God Emperor hunting team needs at least 3 seasoned Dao comprehension fighters, sometimes 6 or 7, Di Qing continued. Your current strength ranks extremely high among early-stage God Emperors. Di Qing's praise was mixed with complicated emotions. He'd expected that after breaking through, becoming early-stage God Emperor, he'd be entitled to an even split of the spoils this time. Oh, and about the spoils from this hunt, let's do a 30-70 split, Di Qing said. Didn't we agree 50-50? Luo Feng asked. They had agreed on that before they left. Luo Feng had even borrowed Hunyuan crystal from Di Qing to buy an array diagram that aided his body technique. I didn't expect you could kill a low-level early-stage God Emperor by yourself, Di Qing said defensively. I got a good deal last hunt, but not now. 30-70 is plenty. If Di Qing meant he should get 3/10, that was generous in his view. Luo Feng looked him in the eye, read the thought, and smiled. All right, 37 it is. 700 epochs in Yulan City had deepened Luo Feng's accumulations, even if his path of creation and destruction hadn't yet reached early-stage God Emperor. He had invented several secret techniques blending creation and destruction. The crowning achievement was a body style modeled on the Star Tower's scarlet scales and the battle body mysteries within the undying heart. He'd combined those insights into a technique he named the Undying Blood Sea Body, his greatest accomplishment thus far. Even the base form of that body could rival a low-level, early-stage God Emperor. I only tapped a fragment of the Star Tower and the Undying Heart's mysteries, and still made such a thing, Luo Feng thought. When my realm advances, this body can be perfected. Previously, his body techniques had leaned on formless and faceless transformations. Now they relied solely on his own comprehension. The path of life had centered on precisely this, so his progress had been smooth. Luo Feng's growth is terrifying, Di Qing reflected. He's only been in Yulan City 700 epochs. He started slightly behind me, and now he's one of the most formidable early-stage God Emperors. If he steps forward again, he could reach late stage. Even the two nations' forefathers only stood at that level. On the origin continent, Luo Feng had shone brilliantly. Compared to the countless powerhouses of many source worlds and billions of worlds, he was exceptional. As they flew, Di Qing's spatial Tao had reached early-stage God Emperor as well, and his perception of the void had sharpened. He tightened his senses. The surrounding sky and ground seemed normal, clouds rolling, dust swirling. We've fallen into an array, Di Qing transmitted to Luo Feng. Luo Feng kept his outward calm, but sharpened his vigilance. His biomimetic extinction eye scoured the area. I don't sense a direct threat yet, he replied. It's a powerful void technique. The transition felt natural. I only realized after we'd stepped into it. I'm turning back now, full escape. Di Qing's voice grew urgent. The enemy had been patient, hoping they would go deeper into the trap. Once they tried to flee, they would be attacked. The black flying shuttle spun and fled at extreme speed. A vast array diagram phantom materialized around it, covering the shuttle with a sheath of sword light. The sword light increased their flight speed. They discovered us? Luo Feng asked quietly. They were sharp, Di Qing muttered. A vast painting swelled out of the void, enormous enough that the black flying shuttle was just a tiny black speck inside it. A voice sneered from everywhere within the painting. Entering my secret treasure and still hoping to escape? Rip. Above the shuttle, gigantic hands condensed, massive, rippling hands that unleashed creation and destruction mysteries. They tore a crack through the enormous painting, and the shuttle shot through the gap. 5 figures had positioned themselves in the void in various directions. So it's friends from the strange workshop, one of them observed as the shuttle emerged. The black flying shuttle vanished, and Luo Feng and Di Qing reappeared, acting politely. They sized up the 5 figures. This was the strange workshop, one of the 3 major raiding forces. Luo Feng had already tangled with the insect nest and Fang Ying's small tower. Now he had run into the strange workshop. He knew the strange workshop's leader called himself the Lord of the Strange Realm and used ruthless, unconventional methods. Most of his subordinates were like-minded. You two, are you both early-stage God Emperors? One of the 5 asked after a brief assessment. Di Qing's sword array and the giant hand that had torn the painting were enough proof. Shall we follow the rules? Di Qing asked. Their escape had shown their strength. By custom, raiding parties paid a fee, hard-earned, but lawful. It's not easy to deal with the 2 of them, a tall figure transmitted. Let them go after exacting a fee. From the intel, both of them came from the source world and only recently reached early-stage God Emperor. Their accumulations aren't deep yet, a grim man with a scarlet vertical stripe between his brows added. The 5 of us are all early-stage, long-time partners. Combine our forces, and we stand a good chance. They might have avatars from their source world, another warned. Those from the source world sometimes carry unique treasures, life remains, innate relics, items traded from infinite space. If we get one, it's a fortune. The words tempted the others. Indeed, source world cultivators often possessed rare resources that billions of world cultivators envied. Luo Feng and Di Qing stayed on guard. Rules? The grim man's tone turned cold. Outside Yulan City, there are no rules. Today you both die. As soon as he finished, black rainwater fell and spread to cover an immense area. The huge painting reformed, enveloping Luo Feng and Di Qing once more. They're trying to kill us! Di Qing's expression hardened, madness flaring in his eyes. Not all raiders honored the code. When rules were discarded, the jungle law took over. Di Qing, I'll take 4 of them. You take the 5th. Luo Feng's eyes went cold, killing intent coiling like a steel wire. Chapter 288, Undying Blood, Sea Body. The massive painting spread across an immense area. The 5 figures vanished into it as if swallowed, and black rain began to pour while white mist condensed and the temperature plunged to a bone-freezing degree. Ridiculous, Luo Feng sneered. His form shifted, swelling to colossal proportions. Scarlet scales layered over his skin like armor, covering every inch. Beneath his feet, a limitless blood sea rolled out as far as the eye could see. Embedded in his body was a secret treasure array diagram, one of the 2 main treasure implements he relied on in battle, the creation and destruction tribulation diagram. Before this expedition, Luo Feng and Di Qing had pooled funds, borrowing 300,000 Hunyuan crystals to buy this array. It contained life and destruction mysteries at the late-stage God-Emperor level, acquired specifically to empower his physical method, the Undying Blood Sea Body. The array diagram activated. The blood sea surged, becoming wilder and more violent. With the array's aid, it spread across hundreds of millions of kilometers, turning the area the painting covered into a world of blood, endless blood waves below and a bleeding mist above. This was Blood Sea Heaven and Earth, a large-scale domain technique Luo Feng had formed by fusing the creation and destruction tribulation diagram with his undying blood sea body. As it took shape, the surrounding world became part of his body. The boundless, living blood sea crushed the 3 domain forces the painting had launched, the rain, the mist, and the painting itself, by sheer overwhelming vigor. The black rain carried potent toxicity and piercing power, but Luo Feng's vitality and recovery outmatched it. By attrition, every unit of blood sea consumed reduced 10 units of black rain. The black rain dissipated rapidly. The white mist tried to freeze the blood sea, but it could not. The great painting itself disintegrated under utter force. Not good. We've provoked a formidable opponent. The 5 who had cast the joint domain reappeared, startled. They had worked together to weave those domain techniques, yet their combined effort was stamped down by Luo Feng alone. The disparity in domain power made clear this was no trivial foe. Being skilled in domains doesn't mean you're versatile, one murmured. Since we started, there's no turning back. Kill them. A white-robed figure singled out Di Qing. Boundless light erupted toward him. Di Qing reacted at once, transforming into a sword array. The array contracted, focusing all its power to counter the white-robed assailant. Your opponent is me, Luo Feng bellowed. His human-shaped body roared as endless blood waves surged toward the 5. The sinister man among them shifted into living black mud, but the mud didn't stay where it came from. It seeped onto Luo Feng's scarlet-scaled surface. Dark grime threaded through his scales, and Luo Feng felt its extreme venom and penetrative force. It was an evolved, deadlier form of the black rain. How can his body be so hard to penetrate? The sinister man grunted. As he corroded Luo Feng, he found himself being consumed too. White mist condensed and formed a towering ice giant, 2 heads and 8 arms, its translucent form glimmering in the strange light. It charged and struck with all 8 arms at once. Luo Feng clenched his gauntleted fists and let loose his close combat power. He ignored the arms and smashed forward. The heavens and earth in his strike's path trembled. He shattered 4 blocking arms and blasted a great hole in the ice creature's chest, sending it flying back. These domain specialists are fierce in the domain, but his close combat, he's terrifying. The 5 from Strange Workshop were surprised. Luo Feng's large-scale domain and ferocious close-quarters strength were both exceptional for a mid-stage God Emperor with Dao comprehension. But they didn't relent. Blue ribbons streaked in, enveloping a wide void and binding Luo Feng from every direction. A massive blood snake shot up and instantly coiled around his right leg and waist. Under the snake's pressure, cracks spidered through Luo Feng's scarlet scales, though they healed almost immediately. Even so, the blue ribbons were unbreakable, likely a powerful secret treasure, and the snake's constriction made Luo Feng feel real pain. His body is tough, one of them noted. We'll subdue and imprison him, then kill him slowly. Bound, Luo Feng laughed. You think this is my true body? He said. The physical method I created is the undying blood sea body. Why do you think it's called that? The five hesitated as realization dawned. Because the blood sea is my true body. Luo Feng roared, laughing. His colossal form dissolved into surging blood waves and merged with the limitless blood sea. The condensed flesh they had been beating on was only 20% of his reserves. The blood sea held the rest. The body could switch between a physical form and the blood sea at will. That was the essence of undying. Confused, the four attackers stared as the figure they had been assaulting vanished into the sea. The blood sea overturned the heavens and covered the world in an instant. Secret treasure array diagram, creation and destruction tribulation diagram, first tribulation, creation and destruction prison. At the heart of the limitless blood sea, the eye of the blood sea, the array and Luo Feng's inner world combined. A spatial prison formed within the eye, and it enveloped only the mass of black mud. The sinister man realized too late what he was trapped in. A spatial prison inside the heart of the blood sea, isolated from the outside. Creation and destruction power flowed through the chains that formed, constantly eroding the captive. 1 finger severed is better than 10 injured, Luo Feng said. His heaven and earth clone manifested within the prison. He had deliberately imprisoned only one enemy. Too many captives would risk miscalculation and escape. This choice bolstered his confidence. The sinister man struggled, then flicked a life-saving item. He dematerialized and slammed through the prison's barrier, breaching 3 successive layers of the eye of the blood sea's membranes before his momentum ran out. He had excellent evasion, but he lacked piercing ability. After pushing through the prison and 3 membranes, he could not get any further. You didn't get away, Luo Feng's voice echoed as the spatial prison resealed around him. Chains of condensed creation and destruction bound the black mud form. Its body corroded under the array's grinding power. Spare me, spare my life, the sinister man begged, desperately telepathing to his fellows. Anything, take my treasures. Luo Feng only smiled coldly. If you die, the treasures will still be mine. And if you kill me, you'll make many powerful enemies. Are you certain that's a bargain you want? The captive's life energy drained rapidly. He'd used 1 life-saving item already and had regretted not taking more. His companions in the blood sea scanned for his position in panic. The 4 outside were bewildered. The eye of the blood sea was hidden within the vast sea. They could not even find where he had been imprisoned. Luo Feng, you haven't been in Yulan City long, the ice giant warned. If you kill Kumo, his master and allies will come after you. If you end him, Strange Workshop won't let it go for the sake of our reputation, the great snake added with a cold gleam. Luo Feng's blood sea billowed, laughter echoing across that red ocean. We from the source world, are we afraid of making enemies? Kill me if you dare. I want to see who will be the one to fear in the end. Chapter 291, The Death of Kumo. From a distance, Di Qing felt his blood boil at Luo Feng's words and laughed. That's right. We, the powerful cultivators of Source World, have never been afraid of making enemies. The 4 strong cultivators from Strange Workshop felt a cold premonition. Source World cultivators were usually cautious to preserve a stable cultivation environment. But if they truly tore off all restraint and fought to the death, Source World cultivators could always rotate new avatars in from home, even if they lost treasures here. I thought killing 2 God Emperors, middle stage, back then would be difficult. We should have just taken a fee and let them go. But Kumo insisted on making a move. In this limitless blood sea, we can't even find where Kumo is imprisoned, so there's no way to rescue him. The 4 from Strange Workshop worried. The imprisoned, sullen man suddenly sent a frantic transmission outward. You have to help me think of a way. He's refining me. I can't hold on much longer. My body has already been refined by 20%. Beg for mercy, negotiate, do anything. Just find a way to save me, he sent, then added, if you can save me, I'll give each of you 10 million Hunyuan crystals. Refined by 20%? The 4 were stunned. Skyborn mixed-source lives usually had life cores. Their vital points were different. If someone like Kumo died here, the limitless blood sea might trap another of their kind and pick them off one by one. The ice creature sent a private message to his three companions. They all shivered. They had only joined Strange Workshop recently. Their bonds weren't deep enough to risk everything. Go. Leave now. When they reached the same conclusion, the faint projection that had been fighting Diqing reunited with its three companions. Kumo, we'll tell your master and have him find a way, they transmitted. Combining their strength, they became a blurry streak of light and tore through all obstacles, fleeing. If they'd stayed to fight, it would take time to decide a winner, and Luo Feng would need moments to deal with each of them. If they escaped fully, even the limitless blood sea couldn't stop them. The blurred light moved extremely fast and vanished over the horizon within 2 breaths. The limitless blood sea condensed into a black-robed figure, Luo Feng. They're gone. Diqing flew over and smiled toward the distance. I didn't expect, just the 2 of us against 5. They lost 1 and the other 4 fled. These marauding types, Luo Feng sneered. How deep could their loyalty be? By the way, the God Emperor you captured, can you kill him? Diqing asked. In a moment, Luo Feng replied. Diqing's grin widened. Good, good. They wanted to kill us, so we should kill them back. The spoils from killing that God Emperor might be better than the spoils from this hunt. Luo Feng's mind sharpened. Cultivators from myriad worlds who come here as avatars don't have the option to call in reinforcements. Their treasures and inheritances are carried on their person. Some auxiliary rare items or inheritances might be missing, but their habitual weapons, secret treasures, and cultivation materials would still be with them. To avoid them finding help, let's leave here first, Luo Feng said. At the same time, he was fully refining the imprisoned Kumo. Diqing and Luo Feng piloted the black flying shuttle and departed quickly. Inside Luo Feng's body, within the spatial prison formed by the secret treasure array diagram, the creation and destruction chains bound Kumo's form, eroding and strangling him. A clone of Luo Feng watched, using the biomimetic extinction eye to observe the opponent. Kumo's body was a mass of rule-based poisons, an endless black mire. If his body shattered, it would disperse into countless poisons without loss. Luo Feng's limitless blood sea had, however, imprisoned all of that black mire at once. The creation and destruction array continued its refining, continuously consuming portions of the rule-based poisons. Kumo was furious at first, then relieved when he realized the others had fled. In Yulan City, the only one truly close to him was his master. Who else would care for his life? What a terrifying array, he thought. He could not escape. Feeling the array's power erode him, Kumo, whose strange poison body allowed him to corrode and injure Lovel Hunyuan life in close combat, found that his body could not contend with this array. His form twisted, only his head kept a normal appearance, while the rest became black mire, constantly being refined and consumed. Luo Feng stood not far off, watching with his biomimetic extinction eye. I wonder what conditions you would ask to be let go, Kumo said, his voice hoarse. You want to live that badly? Luo Feng asked. I want to live, Kumo answered. Luo Feng's expression hardened. If you wanted to live, why act so ruthlessly? Even after the others offered Hunyuan crystals, you still attacked us. Kumo managed a faint, gloomy smile. I killed too many along the way. Maybe it's finally my turn. He closed his eyes. Memories rushed over him. The poisonous great Tao of his birth world, the endless death tribulations, the need to break through realms to survive. He had traveled through over 300 worlds, witnessed 19 worlds fall, and had caused 3 to fall. He had ascended 3 times, had forcefully reached the God King level to avoid the final great Tao death tribulation, and had mastered a branch, ultimately the entire poisonous great Tao. Finding Yulan City and the inheritance of Strange Workshop had suited him perfectly. The strange poison body let him slaughter and plunder without remorse. He had become accustomed, habituated to the violence. That habit had seeped into his soul. Now, on the brink of annihilation, he realized how deep the influence had gone. His body was nearly entirely refined. Only a few residues remained. He tried to contact his companions, but the distance and the 9 Rivers Sacred World suppressions meant his communication treasures couldn't reach them. The only one he could think of was his master, far more gifted than himself, and the reason he had come so far. "Master, don't avenge me," Kumo murmured. "I didn't die at other cultivators' hands. I died to the great Tao death tribulation." At last, the final residue of black mire was refined. Kumo vanished without a trace, leaving behind only secret treasures and stored items. Luo Feng watched the entire refining process through to the end. A god emperor, middle stage, with Tao comprehension, such a cultivation path was legendary and hard-won. Luo Feng also understood the effort Senior Yuan and others had invested in raising such cultivators. In Yulan City, he had kept a low profile, but when someone came to kill him, Luo Feng no longer held back. "You're the first god emperor I've killed," Luo Feng said quietly as he waved a hand to collect Kumo's treasures. Among them were the storage treasure Illusion World Maze and various strange poisons secret treasures. Inside the Illusion World Maze were numerous items. Large amounts of low-level Hunyuan life materials, skewed towards strange poisons, and the spoils from Kumo's plundering trips. There were even 3 Illusion World Maze secret treasures nested inside. He killed quite a few cultivators, Luo Feng thought. Many of his purchased materials are high quality. Unlike Luo Feng's frugal methods, Kumo's purchases had been extravagant, many intended for refining poisons. Luo Feng estimated the haul to be worth around 80 million Hunyuan crystals. Most gains in a cultivation journey get consumed, used to buy auxiliary rare treasures or powerful inheritances, so what Kumo carried was mostly common cultivation items, but still valuable. 80 million Hunyuan crystals is very good, Luo Feng said to himself. The return trip was smooth. They encountered no more plundering, and the black flying shuttle arrived at Yulan City without incident. "Brother Luo Feng, news that you killed Kumo will spread fast," Diqing said. "Your reputation in Yulan City will grow. People thought you might only be an early-stage god emperor before. Now, 1 against 4, counter-killing a god emperor, middle stage. Your strength places you among the strongest of middle-stage Tao comprehension cultivators. Many forces will take notice." Diqing continued, "In Yulan City, your strength could rank within the top 2,000. With more fame, even if you keep out of trouble, trouble will come to you." Luo Feng nodded. "By the way, intelligence says Kumo's only true relative and friend in Yulan City is his master, Yu Yong." "That's the problem," Diqing said. "Yu Yong will be a lot more troublesome." "I'm only an avatar in the 9 Rivers sacred world. What do I have to fear?" Luo Feng smiled. The real body was the one who should be worried, not his avatar. The black flying shuttle rose above Yulan City and headed straight for the Hunyuan Hall. Chapter 292, Celestial Crane Elder and Yu Yong Hunyuan Hall, 1st floor, shop number 3. "Oh." The round-faced old man, Buyu's eyes widened as he peered into the spatial ring and inspected the low-level Hunyuan corpses stored inside. The most conspicuous was a huge, entirely crimson body. Judging by its size and aura, this is a low-level Hunyuan life form at the God Emperor, middle stage level. Buyu looked at Luo Feng and Diqing with surprise. In Yulan City, hunting a single God Emperor, middle stage, low-level Hunyuan life was already proof of a team's strength. "Hurry and make an offer," Diqing urged. "For this intact flame corpse, I can offer a maximum of 12.5 million Hunyuan crystals," Buyu said. "With its 10 battle merits, that comes to 13.5 million. Luo Feng and Diqing exchanged a look. It was the highest offer so far. The other 2 shops they'd visited had offered 12 million and 12.2 million at most, and neither had included battle merits. "Then this intact flame corpse is yours," Diqing said with a smile. Buyu's laugh was immediate and satisfied. He was determined to buy it. The core tendons of such a flame corpse were consistently bought by the faction backing him, and the rest of the body could be used for refining artifacts, making medicines, crafting puppets. Its value extended far beyond what its cultivation level suggested. These life forms had been born outside the cage. Their corpses were prized for the unusual materials and insights they offered. Even scraps could be used as cultivation materials for others. All sold. Luo Feng and his team moved through the 3 shops on the 1st floor of Hunyuan Hall, selling everything suitable for sale. "This time, we hunted 1 God Emperor, middle stage, and 7 God Emperor, early stage, low-level Hunyuan life forms," Luo Feng reported. We sold them for a total of 19.5 million Hunyuan crystals. He and Di Qing split the proceeds on a 3-to-7 basis. Di Qing took 5.85 million. The remaining 13.65 million went to Luo Feng. He also repaid the 300,000 Hunyuan crystals he had borrowed from Di Qing to purchase the formation diagram's secret treasure. Don't be hasty handling the spoils from killing Kumo, Di Qing warned as they prepared to leave. Look around Yulan City more carefully. Luo Feng nodded. Handling the hall was tedious work. He could have sold everything quickly at Hunyuan Hall, but the discounts would be too steep. Intact low-level Hunyuan corpses could be sold there, but many scattered parts, prepared poisons, and rare medicines for refining poisons needed buyers who recognized their true value. I'll spend a few more days settling it, he said. He wasn't in a hurry. A payoff this large required careful handling. Also be careful of Kumo's master, Yu Yong, and of Strange Workshop, Di Qing reminded him before they parted. Only 3 factions in Yulan City made a regular business of thefts and plunder: the Insect Nest, the 10,000 Shadows small building, and Strange Workshop. The fact that they operated so brazenly, undaunted by enemies, meant they had strong backing. There were 723 Dao comprehension cultivators at God Emperor late stage in the city. Groups like Strange Workshop dared to act only because they had power. Deputy Palace Master, Kumo of the Blacklight team, is dead. 4 survivors from Kumo's team had returned to Yulan City ahead of Luo Feng's group and reported the news. Strange Workshop had 8 Deputy Palace Masters, each a God Emperor late-stage Dao comprehension cultivator. 5 of them served as elders in Yulan City. These 8 were the real managers of Strange Workshop. Their Palace Master, whose power rivaled the 3 Hall Masters, rarely showed himself, focusing his main energies in the dark sacred world. Strange Workshop's existence in Yulan City was primarily to extract resources. Kumo is dead? A handsome man in a white robe sat unmoved, an effortless aura of layered protections emanating from him. He was one of Strange Workshop's Deputy Palace Masters, Celestial Crane Elder. He chuckled softly, fingers like polished jade as he leisurely poured wine. I only have 20 teams under me. Losing a member in the Blacklight team makes reassignment awkward. How did he die? Deputy Palace Master, the detailed report is here. A golden-armored subordinate presented the intelligence with respect. Celestial Crane Elder scanned it. It recorded the entire combat process. Luo Feng, he murmured, a cultivator who had been in Yulan City for only about 700 cycles, yet with a peculiar body cultivation technique. Celestial Crane Elder registered the detail, but did not dwell on it. He had come up through a source world. He served as an elder and deputy palace master for advantage, and his true focus remained the dark sacred world. With long accumulated wealth and top-tier secret treasures, he had no reason to fear a newcomer. He killed my subordinate. Celestial Crane Elder said, he should compensate us. He glanced at the golden-armored officer. Find Luo Feng and tell him to pay 50 million Hunyuan crystals. If he pays, the matter is dropped. If he refuses, don't say anything more. Just come back, Celestial Crane Elder added. Yes, the subordinate replied, bowing before departing. Celestial Crane Elder sipped his wine as if nothing had happened. A single subordinate's death mattered only insofar as it could be turned into profit. Yulan City had grown dull. This would liven things up. Luo Feng, he mused with a faint smile. I hope he refuses. That would be entertaining. Prestige in Yulan City was built on killings, and the more dramatic the deaths, the higher one's renown. Compared to the brutality of the dark sacred world, life in the Nine Rivers sacred world was pure leisure for Celestial Crane Elder. In a deep, central cave, a safer and better supplied hideout than Di Qing's, Yu Yong received the same report and the full battle recording sent by the 4 survivors. He cut a more imposing figure than most. Unlike the Dao comprehension cultivators who dominated Yulan City, Yu Yong was a Hunyuan bloodline cultivator, nearing the coveted half-Hunyuan level, but not quite there yet. Only a true half-Hunyuan bloodline cultivator could match the status of a God Emperor, late-stage Dao comprehension cultivator. Yu Yong's present strength might barely clear the lowest threshold in the dark sacred world, but he was unwilling to risk it. He preferred to stay in the Nine Rivers sacred world and accumulate power until he genuinely became half Hunyuan. Kumo, Yu Yong sighed, watching the replay. I told him, life here is easier. There's no need to join Strange Workshop. He and Kumo had clawed their way up from the bottom together. Along the way, others had joined, but in the end, only the two of them made it to the Nine Rivers Sacred World. For cultivators from a source world, the path was punishing. Becoming a god emperor was monstrously difficult. Although they had resources to ease their path, danger and death were constant, and only by growing strong could they survive. I once met Lord Jin, Yu Yong said quietly, thinking back. He said that if we could break out of the cage, many of our dead could be resurrected. For him, breaking free of the cage was the single most important goal. All else was secondary. He had no hatred for Luo Feng. Kumo had initiated the plunder and tried to kill another party. If he died in the course of that, the blame lay with his chosen way of life. I won't avenge you, Yu Yong murmured. I think Kumo would have expected no less. They had been master and disciple by name, but years of shared danger had made them blood companions. Yu Yong cherished the slower, safer life the Nine Rivers Sacred World offered now. My path has only one aim, to break out of the cage, he said, resolve sharpening in his eyes. Luo Feng spent the evening moving between merchants in Yulan City, looking for the right buyers for the scattered spoils. He wasn't chasing the absolute highest offer. He wanted something close to optimal. As night fell and the wind picked up, he stepped out of a shop and froze at the sight of a figure appearing before him, completely encased in golden armor, expression unrateable. Strange Workshop, Chu Yik, Luo Feng said. He had bought intelligence on all the city's god emperors. While he hadn't purchased the absolute latest updates, these profiles rarely changed rapidly. Chu Yik was a Strange Workshop member with God Emperor, middle stage, Dao comprehension strength. You're here about Kumo? Luo Feng asked. The golden-armored man studied him. Luo Feng, Kumo belonged to our Deputy Palace Master Celestial Crane Elder. You killed him, and the Deputy Palace Master is furious, but since Kumo plundered you first, we'll give you a chance to atone. To atone? Luo Feng repeated, incredulous. Pay us 50 million Hunyuan crystals, and Strange Workshop will drop it, Chu Yik said. 50 million? Luo Feng barked a laugh that held anger. Your Strange Workshop plundered and tried to butcher us outside the city. I defended myself and killed one of you. Now you demand I compensate you? Am I supposed to let myself be slaughtered when confronted with plunder and murder? You can fight back, Chu Yik said coldly, but you must still compensate. Within 3 days, deliver 50 million Hunyuan crystals to our Deputy Palace Master. You may refuse, of course, but the consequences will be unpleasant. He turned to leave. Don't wait 3 days, Luo Feng called. Chu Yik paused, looking back. Go tell your Deputy Palace Master, Celestial Crane Elder, that there won't be 50 million Hunyuan crystals. Not one Hunyuan crystal. Bring everything you've got. The golden-armored man gave him a long look, then smiled, part approval, part amusement. Impressive. With that, he took to the air and departed. Chapter 293. In the early period of the God Emperor, the way of life and death, Yulan City was still bustling even in the dead of night. Luo Feng watched the golden-armored figure fly off, sensing the other's naked malice. In the golden warrior's eyes, Chu Yik, Luo Feng's future would be miserable. They had tried to ambush and kill him outside the city, failed, and now they were demanding compensation? Strange Workshop was unusually arrogant. Luo Feng shook his head. As for Celestial Crane Elder, he wanted to see what the man could do. He smiled faintly and moved on to browse the next merchant. Back in Di Qing's cave abode, Luo Feng's avatar had already called his companions together. Di had been in seclusion lately and had little interest in hunting, but he never blocked Luo Feng or Di Qing's messages, even while secluded. What happened? Dai asked. Emperor Consort was currently working at the Nine-Ring World Tower and, since he cultivated the way of space, also kept an avatar in his cave abode. Di Qing sat nearby and guessed immediately. Is it Strange Workshop? Yes. Luo Feng looked at his two companions and nodded. Just now, Celestial Crane Elder, Deputy Palace Master Xingyi of Strange Workshop, sent subordinates to me. They demanded 50 million Hunyuan crystals as compensation for the failed ambush. I refused. You were ambushed and killed one of them? Dai and Emperor Consort stiffened. Dai explained, on our way back from hunting, Brother Luo Feng and I were ambushed by a Strange Workshop team. They had 5 cultivators at the God Emperor mid-stage in Dao comprehension. They surrounded Brother Luo Feng, who killed one named Kumo. The other 4, wary, fled. 2 against 5, and you killed one? At God Emperor mid-stage? Dai and Emperor Consort were shocked. Emperor Consort was still striving to reach the God King ultimate realm. D, on the Hunyuan bloodline path, was only at the God Emperor early stage. He knew well that a God Emperor mid-stage in Dao comprehension corresponded to a bloodline cultivator at the God Emperor late stage, one step from half-primordial origin level. For Luo Feng to survive such an ambush and slay one was astonishing. "Strange workshop is threatening me," Luo Feng said. "I'm not afraid of them, but you two need to be careful." Di Qing nodded. "Their retaliation will come. They can't act openly inside the city because of the laws and the formations that cover it, but they'll use covert methods. Hidden attacks are enough to hurt you two. Your defenses are too weak." "I haven't been going out much," Di said. "I have many avatars." Emperor Consort smiled wryly. "The ones I send out are poor substitutes." Luo Feng and Di Qing exchanged looks. Yulan City's laws were strict, and on the surface the city's formations blocked overt violations. Di Qing warned, "Even if they resort to foul play, it will be hidden. Hidden means can't harm you or me here, within the city and with our protections." Luo Feng agreed. With his sea of blood undying body, even if Celestial Crane Elder attacked openly and they fought, the Elder would have to use heavy methods to destroy one of Luo Feng's undying bodies. It was still relatively safe inside the city. The insect nest, 10,000 Shadows small building, and strange workshop are ruthless, Di Qing added. Their main reprisals happen outside the city. Until we're certain, let's avoid hunting for now. Agreed. Let's rest and let things cool down. Di Qing had just reached God Emperor mid-stage and would likely struggle to break through for a while. He needed long-term accumulation, and after offending Strange Workshop, he did not want to take risks. Luo Feng also wanted time to properly absorb the spoils he had acquired, but Strange Workshop's response came quickly. 2 days later, Emperor Consort lost his position at the Nine-Ring World Tower. On his way back after leaving the tower, his avatar was quietly attacked. No one could tell how the killer struck. "Strange Workshop really has no bottom line," Luo Feng said through clenched teeth. He and Di Qing had expected some backlash, but seeing it happen still angered them. An organization like Strange Workshop clearly didn't care about reputation. "It was just a menial post," Emperor Consort said with a laugh, trying to sound unconcerned. "I suppose Strange Workshop passed a word to someone in the Nine-Ring World Tower, and with one sentence my job was gone." He hadn't expected to be targeted, and the loss still stung. Di Qing added, "The sneak attack contained karmic methods. Fortunately, the Nine Rivers Sacred World suppresses karma heavily, and the formation in my cave abode blocks it, so it couldn't harm your cave avatar." "If my cave avatar had died, I'd have to come all the way from Origin Continent again," Emperor Consort joked. He tried to make light of it, but Luo Feng knew he prized the job. Its loss had upset him. "You were implicated because of me," Luo Feng said. "Emperor Consort, you lost your job because I offended them. I owe you. I'll find you an even better position." Emperor Consort brightened at that. "Then I've profited," he laughed. "I can also go into seclusion for a while and study what I learned at the Nine-Ring World Tower." Luo Feng knew Emperor Consort was masking disappointment. They'd celebrated when Emperor Consort got that post. Losing it was a blow. Luo Feng's eyes turned cold. Strange Workshop, Celestial Crane Elder, would pay for this. Using Formless and Faceless to alter his appearance and aura, Luo Feng silently boarded an official flying boat that passed through Yulan City. From the lake at the foot of the Sacred Mountain, he teleported through the infinite mixed origin space back to Origin Continent. Huyang City, City Lord's Mansion, he had returned. Luo Feng stood atop a tall building in the City Lord's Mansion and watched the giant furry palm that supported Huyang City. It was his innate secret treasure, Palm World. Its value rivaled his other major treasure, the Undying Heart, though truly unleashing the Palm World's power was harder. The Undying Heart had been chosen from the infinite space treasure trove because it matched him. Centered on the twin paths of life and destruction, it was easy for him to wield. The Palm World, however, was originally a claw of a high-level origin life. nurtured for a long time within a world-level Hunyuan life in the dream domain until it became an innate treasure. Life was its core, but it also contained deep mysteries of world, destruction, space, matter, and the immeasurable. Its complexity made it far more difficult to fully master. Whoosh! Luo Feng stepped and immediately returned to the Star Tower. One cultivation space there stored a large amount of low-level Hunyuan life materials. He waved his hand and drew down materials with stronger auras. There are 800 portions of low-level Hunyuan life at God Emperor late-stage strength, averaging 38,000 Hunyuan crystals a portion. I've collected about 70% of the low-level Hunyuan life in the Nine Rivers Sacred World, suitable for me at this level, he murmured. There are 80 portions at God Emperor Perfect level, averaging 390,000 Hunyuan crystals each. I also bought 3 super limit portions, spending 10.2 million Hunyuan crystals total. Luo Feng's wealth had been mainly invested in materials. Low-level Hunyuan life came in many races and power grades, from God Emperor early stage up through perfect level. Among the perfect level bodies, a few exceptional ones, called super limit level, far exceeded their peers. In the Nine Rivers Sacred World, those were usually transported from the Dark Sacred World, where killing was more intense and stronger bodies were more common. Even scraps of super limit materials were worth at least several hundred Hunyuan crystals per portion. Each of these life materials contains profound secrets of creation and destruction, Luo Feng said, pleased. This haul is far bigger than before. I also bought numerous auxiliary cultivation treasures. This time he intended to push the path of creation and destruction forward. Luo Feng's eye of creation and destruction opened on his brow. He began to study the materials meticulously. God Emperor level cultivation often required hundreds or thousands of epochs in seclusion. Di Qing had committed to long-term seclusion. Luo Feng planned to do the same. He had purchased systematic sets for several races, early, mid, late, and perfect levels, so by comparing and comprehending them, he could gain more. He examined the materials, cross-referenced strengths and structures, and slowly integrated what he learned. He hadn't even finished the first pass when, after studying about 70%, an effort that took nearly 200 epochs, the path of creation and destruction completed itself through accumulated refinement and reached a qualitative change. Sitting cross-legged in the Star Tower, continuously comprehending, analyzing, and integrating, Luo Feng found the whole God Emperor early-stage path of creation and destruction forming in his mind. First came relief, then a flood of joy. The euphoria of Tao comprehension was the intoxicating reward that drove cultivators onward. Even many who were already invincible in their home worlds risked everything to come to the Nine Rivers Sacred World to pursue a higher Tao and see new vistas. It's been 900 epochs since I arrived in Yulan City, Luo Feng murmured with a smile. The path of creation and destruction has finally advanced from the God King Ultimate Realm to the God Emperor early stage. Chapter 294, Palm World and Undying Heart. In Nine Rivers Sacred World, Yulan City, Inner City, Tianshui District, residence number 99179, Luo Feng and Di Qing were both in seclusion. What is the power of the path of creation and destruction at God Emperor early stage? Luo Feng wondered. He couldn't test its true power in the origin continent because the source world imposed strict limits. Here in Nine Rivers Sacred World, he could push his abilities freely. Path of creation and destruction, Tao domain. A thought formed in his mind. Centered on him, the path of creation and destruction unfolded into a vast rule system domain. It was deep and terrible in might. If a God King Ultimate Realm cultivator stepped inside, they would likely be pulverized instantly. Even the domain that forms naturally with a single thought is already stronger than the Blood Sea domain of my undying Blood Sea body, Luo Feng muttered in surprise. He casually pointed a finger. The power of creation and destruction converged to a point, piercing layers of space and faintly revealing immense phantom patterns. Nine Rivers Sacred World had been specially reinforced and trapped many low-level Hunyuan lives within it, so Luo Feng still couldn't break the world membrane. A casual flick of my finger is stronger than my full-strength attack before seclusion, he thought. After testing a few moves, he had enough data. The path of creation and destruction at God Emperor, early stage, should be comparable to an ordinary God Emperor late stage Tao comprehension, he concluded. At the God King ultimate realm, the path of creation and destruction had 9 extremely powerful branches. In terms of power, it could cross a major realm and match a God Emperor, early stage, Tao comprehension. That the creation and destruction path at God Emperor, early stage, could compare to an ordinary path at God Emperor, late stage, fell within his expectations. After all, life and destruction at God Emperor, early stage, even just cooperating, had the strength of a God Emperor, middle stage, Tao comprehension. If fully fused, they rose further still. Using the God King ultimate realm path of creation and destruction as a foundation, feeding it with life and destruction at God Emperor, early stage, and drawing on scattered profound truths of life and destruction, everything merged and pushed creation and destruction to God Emperor, early stage. Luo Feng reflected. It had been difficult, 2 paths fused into one, but powerful, and its ceiling was even higher. With proper secret treasures and techniques, I should be able to rival the weaker elders of Yulan City, he said, nodding. The elders varied. Some cultivated 2 paths simultaneously, others followed special schools of thought. After the breakthrough, he did not emerge from seclusion. He continued cultivating. Over the years, he had observed many low-level Hunyuan life forms with the eye of creation and destruction, gathering massive knowledge in the directions of life and destruction. But before the path of creation and destruction broke through, he hadn't dared advance the life and destruction paths, fearing missteps. Taking the wrong path had severe consequences. He preferred to be slow and steady. The higher the realm, the more one sees the shallowness of one's understanding, he thought. With the path of creation and destruction established, Luo Feng's understanding of how life and destruction should merge deepened. His cultivation adjusted constantly. Cultivation required groping forward in the dark. Life, destruction, and creation and destruction had to verify one another and advance together. That was the most stable approach. After about 90 more epochs, the life path, already rich in accumulated knowledge, naturally advanced to God Emperor, middle stage. After another 60 epochs, the destruction path also reached God Emperor, middle stage. Stop for now, he decided. Life and destruction were relatively purer and simpler, so they were easier to comprehend. Having pushed both to God Emperor, middle stage, Luo Feng paused. His next goal was to use them as resources to bring the path of creation and destruction up to God Emperor, middle stage. This will be difficult. Fusion became harder as life and destruction grew stronger. In Nine Rivers' sacred world, many cultivators combined different paths, but those who truly fused distinct paths into one were rare. Luo Feng tried for a few epochs, then paused again. The next breakthrough demands a long accumulation. I'll first master the methods of application. The Tao is foundation. Application techniques are the means of protecting and using it. Comprehending those techniques deepened his grasp of the Tao. My previous undying blood sea body was crude, he admitted, and began refining it. Earlier, when both life and destruction were at God Emperor, early stage, and creation and destruction only at God King ultimate realm, he had created the first undying blood sea body by observing the star tower and the undying heart with the eye of creation and destruction. Now his realms had risen, and his understanding of the star tower's scarlet scales and the undying heart reached a new height. The undying blood sea body was transformed completely. Refining secret techniques was easier than comprehending the Tao. It took him only 3 epochs to craft a new version of the undying blood sea body. He sat cross-legged upon the vast, limitless blood sea, the blood sea itself part of his body, while a layer of protective scarlet scales formed on his surface. Undying blood sea body, this form truly contains elements of the undying heart's profundities, he thought. He stared at the limitless sea of blood. Its vitality originated from his understanding of the star tower's scarlet scale. That single scale was like a boundless sea of blood compressed into one indestructible scale. Senior Yuan was right. No predecessor's method fits me perfectly, Luo Feng admitted. What fits me best are the methods I've researched myself. The techniques he formed from studying the star tower's scarlet scales, the undying heart, and the eye of creation and destruction were what he needed. Only by exploring and building his own methods, step by step, could he truly grasp their truths. That offered the greatest hope of breaking free from the cage. Cultivating another's methods might provide great power, but did those methods suit him? Did he fully understand why they were structured that way? With an alien method as foundation, how likely was he to escape the cage? Every step in cultivation must be steady, he resolved. Luo Feng refined other secret techniques, perfected the biomimetic extinction eye, and created complementary combat techniques that leveraged the undying blood sea body's advantages. He stood on a tall building of the Huyang City Lord's mansion and looked at the enormous furry claw that had lifted the whole of Huyang City. It's time to take it out of the source world, he decided. His mind moved. The huge claw vanished from the sky and reappeared in his hand, merging into his right limb and coating it with a furry, clawed surface. A naturally formed secret treasure is extraordinary. Luo Feng felt the terrible destructive potential of the claw. Its talons could tear anything apart, and its grasp could envelop and capture foes. Natural secret treasures like that were rare in Yulan City. If one ever appeared, even the elders would fight for it. With my current strength, I'm already qualified to take the undying heart and a naturally formed treasure like Palm World out, he thought. The Star Tower and Eye of Creation and Destruction, he believed, could not be taken out of the Source World. But treasures on the level of the Undying Heart or Palm World, while precious, could sometimes be obtained by two nations' forefathers-level beings. Lucky elders from the Source World had clone techniques and chances to acquire such items. Those who did usually left them at home or took them into the Dark Sacred World rather than leave them in Yulan City. Huyang City silently settled back to the ground without causing ripples. Most city creatures didn't notice. Only some residents, seeing the 5 majestic mountain ranges vanish, were alarmed. What's going on? Where did the 5 mountain ranges go? Where's that huge claw? Guards on the city walls noticed first and panicked as they reported it. Luo Feng, on the mansion's rooftop, pulled out his array diagram treasure. This creation and destruction array diagram no longer means much to me, he said. Using the diagram as a core, he arranged a simple auxiliary array to draw on heaven and earth energy, forming a circulating energy ring. With natural cosmic energy cycling and the array at its center, the formation easily reached the origin continent's upper limit of power. Black and white currents swirled around Huyang City, and the city appeared faintly visible within them. A vast creation and destruction array had formed. Master. Morosa arrived and bowed. What happened to Huyang City? I just replaced the town defender array, Luo Feng replied with a smile. The city's management rules can remain as before. Morosa glanced at Luo Feng's right hand, now a furry claw, and understood. Morosa, some guests have arrived. You may withdraw for now, Luo Feng instructed. Yes. Morosa left. He also sensed 5 auras approaching the city, and saw they were blocked by the great creation and destruction array, so they did not attempt to force entry. Luo Feng looked out. Ancestor Yan Feng and Ancestor Lei Ting had come, along with the space-time Old Devil, the 2-realm Palace Master, and the 10,000 Law Tower Master. The 5 looked at him from a distance with goodwill. Luo Feng smiled and waved. The black and white currents parted, opening a path to the city lord's mansion. He had prepared fruits and fine wine. Ha! Sensing that naturally formed treasure being put away, everyone came. The space-time Old Devil laughed. The 5 made a few steps and arrived. The 6 gathered here were the most powerful existences in the origin continent, and in Yulan City, each held the strength of an elder. Brother Luo, the 10,000 Law Tower Master smiled. You put that naturally formed treasure away. Are you planning to take it out of the source world? I advise against it. Once such a treasure leaves the source world, it's easy to be snatched. Indeed, the 2-realm Palace Master added, your cultivation time is short and your strength too weak. If you take such a treasure out, you won't be able to keep it. Only a few of us would trade fairly with you. Luo Feng smiled inwardly. My strength is weak? Among the 6 present, he reflected, he was not necessarily the weakest. P.S. Resuming updates. Chapter 295, Episode 7. I'm confident. Don't worry, we'll bid fairly, the space-time Old Devil said with a smile. Sell it to whoever offers the highest price. The five of us here have plenty of reserves, the master of the 10,000 Law Tower chuckled. The five gathered were all powerhouses from the source world, capable of avatar techniques and ranked as elders even in Yulan City. After centuries of cultivation, their accumulated wealth was staggering. As elders, they received fixed incomes each epoch, and because the master of the 10,000 Law Tower and the others could travel between source worlds, their treasures were beyond imagination. Brother Luo Feng, we're from the same source world. If the offers are close, you should favor us, Thunder Ancestor urged. Luo Feng, you decide for yourself, Yan Feng Ancestor added. The three alien races and the two natives, all five, coveted this innate secret treasure intensely. As you all know, this innate secret treasure is extremely important to me, Luo Feng said with a smile, shaking his head. I don't intend to sell it. What a pity. The five were disappointed. You also gathered 2 portions of special life remains. Will you sell one? The space-time old devil pressed. Luo Feng's core cultivation and comprehension centered on the scarlet scales of the Star Tower and the Eye of Creation and Destruction. The eye had been refined from the intact corpse of a world-level Hunyuan life, and a single world-level Hunyuan life material could already be a tremendous foundation for a god emperor. To use a few more portions for cultivation could even offer a chance to break free from the cage. The 2 pieces Luo Feng had collected on the origin continent, a dark golden horn from the dream domain and a black bone segment, were chosen after he had scoped the dream domain and the sky pillar world with his eye of creation and destruction, and were therefore exceptionally valuable. No sale, Luo Feng said with a grin. In the early stages of cultivation, when your strength is limited and resources are scarce, Thunder Ancestor advised, selling 1 portion of special life remains can immediately smooth your path. Luo Feng shook his head. No need to persuade me. The 5 looked helpless. Special life remains and top-tier innate treasures were far too rare. Given Luo Feng's experience in Yulan City and his rising fame, he would be even less likely to part with such things. So the forebears of the 2 nations and the 3 alien races would have their own emperors, and idle god kings send juniors to gather whatever they could. No rush, the space-time old devil chuckled. If you ever need to trade, you know where to find me. If you trade elsewhere, you risk being robbed. Trading on the origin continent is absolutely safe, Thunder Ancestor added. Having cultivated for so long, they had all the patience in the world. They knew Luo Feng might someday encounter trouble and need to sell treasures. Haha, all right. If I need to trade, I'll contact you, Luo Feng replied politely, raising his cup. That night, after the gathering broke up, Luo Feng quietly went to the icy mountain valley with the 2 great treasures, the Undying Heart and the Palm World. From there, he used the lake portal to travel to the 9 Rivers Sacred World. At the foot of the sacred mountain, some cultivators were waiting for the official flying ship. This time, I'll fly to Yulan City alone, Luo Feng decided. He didn't wait for the rare official ship that left once every epoch. He flipped his hand and produced a drop of green water that formed into a flying ship. Controlling the water drop flying ship, he left the sacred mountain. Space-time Old Devil had traded this ship to Luo Feng at a loss back then. The space-time Old Devil picked an armor set and the Abyss Pearl left after Emperor Yuan's death, probably only worth 20,000 Hunyuan crystals. This water drop flying ship, a God Emperor late-stage vessel, is worth about 100,000 Hunyuan crystals. He lost a lot, Luo Feng thought, standing in the ship's hull looking out. He understood, however, that the real cost to space-time Old Devil was transporting a large number of treasures across worlds. Teleportation that broke worlds. A water-drop flying ship might have been a small item among those riches. I don't like taking advantage of others. I'll find a way to repay the space-time Old Devil, he promised himself. The water-drop flying ship was a pure life-type flying secret treasure, excellent at concealing life aura, but slower and less suited for stealth than void-type vessels. This ship is ordinary, but with my realm I can fully unleash its power. And with the biomimetic extinction eye controlling it, the concealment of creation and destruction aura is even stronger, Luo Feng thought. That the ship could perform beyond its usual level only showed the ship itself was modest. I should get a better ship when I return to Yulan City, he mused. The ship concealed its aura and moved cautiously. Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye had a far greater observational range than before. Even among Yulan City's elders, few could match his ability to observe and probe. He could detect low-level origin life from great distances and steer well clear. Low-level origin life are everywhere, he noted. It took him 12 days to reach Yulan City, and along the way he had detected 39 low-level origin life. He hadn't dared to hunt a single one. Most of the Nine Rivers' sacred world was inhabited by such creatures, and cultivators were meant to hunt only near the 35 cities where they could always retreat if something went wrong. Many had died for ignoring that rule. Yulan City. Luo Feng relaxed only after flying through the city gate. He had visited many shops here and knew exactly what each sold, their prices and reputations. Brother Luo Feng. As he entered a shop, a red-robed woman who ran it greeted him warmly. Word has spread about your fight with Strange Workshop's team, 2 against 5, killing God Emperor Kumo. Your fame is spreading across the city. I don't like killing, but if they insist on seeking death, I have no choice, Luo Feng replied calmly. Impressive, the shopkeeper smiled. Come, sit inside. A regular attendant would normally suffice, but Luo Feng's public reputation now placed him among the top 2,000 powerhouses in the city. Such a visitor warranted the owner's personal greeting. Attendants murmured among themselves. He could even counter and kill a Strange Workshop raid? This man must be extraordinary. When will I become a God Emperor? They moved to an elegantly decorated pavilion. Luo Feng and the red-robed woman sat. I'm here to buy a formation diagram, Luo Feng said, pointing to a diagram among the weapons and secret treasures floating outside. At its center was a vivid, majestic world and 3 special characters whose will he could sense. Mystic Azure Sky. The Mystic Azure Sky Extinction Formation Diagram, the red-robed woman said in surprise. That requires 8.5 million Hunyuan crystals. The Mystic Azure Sky Extinction Diagram was a half-primordial origin-level secret formation diagram. Even within that tier, those containing 1 path were cheaper and easier to use, while those with 2 paths were rarer, harder to control, and far more expensive. A fixed price of 8 million Hunyuan crystals. I'm also buying a flying ship, Luo Feng bargained, pointing to the Taishu Mingtong battleship. Make it 10 million for both. The shopkeeper smiled. A 5% discount was usually the maximum, and his offer was even lower. All right, let's round it off. Brother Luo Feng, do more business with us in future. Good, Luo Feng nodded, satisfied. After his last hunt and the spoils from killing Kumo, he had a little over 10 million Hunyuan crystals. After this purchase, he would be nearly broke again. I need to buy half-primordial origin-level secret treasures now. Fewer and fewer treasures will suit me, he thought. It was inevitable. Without relying on secret treasures, he was already strong among those of God. Emperor late-stage Tao comprehension, and with the Undying Heart and Palm World in hand, only half-primordial origin-level items could still push him further. With the Mystic Azure Sky Extinction Diagram, my limitless blood sea can form a formation, he reflected. The Undying Heart greatly enhanced his Undying Blood Sea body in direct combat, but it couldn't form a large-scale domain. This formation diagram could multiply the power of his Blood Sea domain. The Taishu Mingtong battleship contained creation and destruction mysteries and was well suited to his biomimetic extinction eye. He paid 10 million Hunyuan crystals and exchanged them for the 2 treasures. Di Qing, who had been in seclusion, received Luo Feng's message and came out immediately. Brother Luo Feng, you came out so soon, he asked in surprise. Didn't you say you'd go into long-term seclusion? We offended Strange Workshop. It's not wise to go out without confidence. Luo Feng smiled slightly. I'm confident now. Confident? Di Qing stared. Only 360 epochs had passed since Luo Feng went into seclusion. We offended Celestial Crane Elder, Strange Workshop's deputy palace master. Are you confident against Celestial Crane Elder? Luo Feng nodded. Di Qing felt his mind reel. You've already reached God Emperor late-stage Tao comprehension? He stammered, incredulous. A single God Emperor early-stage path of creation and destruction was comparable to a God Emperor late-stage Tao comprehension. Luo Feng now had both the path of life and the path of destruction at God Emperor middle stage, and he held the 2 great treasures, Undying Heart, and Palm World. No wonder he felt confident against Celestial Crane Elder. This seclusion brought breakthroughs, Luo Feng said with a smile. Di Qing was at a loss for words. He had watched Luo Feng grow with his own eyes. As someone who had been stuck at God Emperor middle stage Tao comprehension and only broken through with great difficulty, he felt a fleeting embarrassment and a deep admiration. I've always heard that a tiny fraction of top-tier talents in countless worlds have terrifying innate potential, Di Qing said, looking at Luo Feng. Now I've truly seen it. Luo Feng smiled. In the primordial universe era, before the undying stage, every step he took had been solid and had surpassed limits at each level, forging a perfect divine body and a will capable of reaching tremendous heights. On the origin continent, his foundation had been just as profound, allowing him to obtain treasures like the Star Tower and the Eye of Creation and Destruction, which in turn smoothed his path. Becoming half-primordial origin level isn't difficult, he had discussed with Senior Yuan. In the eyes of Senior Yuan and others, becoming a half-primordial origin level by groping in the dark was comparatively easy. Such powerhouses existed throughout the dark sacred world. Breaking free from the cage, however, was the true challenge. No matter what, it's an honor, Di Qing, to team up with you for hunts, Luo Feng said. I'm preparing to go hunting. Are you coming? He asked. Of course, I'll go, Di Qing answered without hesitation. Thanks to Lilian Shi and Hongmeng Dabai for their generous tips. Chapter 296, Luo Feng and Wu Ya. Although they had agreed to go hunting, both Luo Feng and Di Qing still needed to make preparations. Luo Feng had to familiarize himself with the newly acquired Mystic Azure Sky Annihilation map, and Di Qing had to decide which secret treasures to bring for facing powerful foes. After half a cycle, they finally set off. Luo Feng and Di Qing have gone out hunting. Dai and the Emperor Consort saw them off. Last time we offended the Celestial Crane Elder, the Deputy Palace Master of Strange Workshop. Now the two of them are going out to hunt. If Strange Workshop retaliates... Dai worried. Having lived in Yulan City so long, he knew Strange Workshop's methods well. The Emperor Consort smiled, watching them head toward the cave entrance. If they dare to go out, they must be confident they can handle it. If I'm right, our situation in Yulan City is about to improve. You trust them that much? Dai asked in surprise. I trust Luo Feng. The Emperor Consort had studied Luo Feng closely, observing his every move. Only after confirming Luo Feng's character did he help him repeatedly, even at the risk of offending Di Yan. Dai stared at him, puzzled. Have you not noticed? The Emperor Consort said with a smile. Since he started cultivating, whenever Luo Feng takes the initiative, he always has absolute confidence. Dai thought about it and admitted it was true. From an eternal true god to someone comparable to Di Qing in only a little over 1,000 cycles. You should know, the Emperor Consort continued softly, Brother Luo Feng has been in Yulan City for over 1,000 cycles. The cultivation resources here are rich, so his progress should naturally be faster. Even the ancestors said he must be either a reincarnated alien or someone with terrifying innate talent. It looks like the latter, the Emperor Consort smiled. We only need to wait for good news. Luo Feng and Di Qing boarded the black flying shuttle and headed for Yulan City's outermost east gate. Yulan City was wrapped in many layers of colorful protective arrays. Invisible fluctuations swept the city repeatedly to track every resident. Anyone who failed to pay residency fees could be targeted immediately, and anyone without a residence for 3 days would be expelled. The protections also kept low-level Hunyuan life forms from sneaking in. The moment we left the cave, the city's intelligence network should have known, and Strange Workshop too, Luo Feng said, looking at Di Qing. Their heavy hitters have probably already started tracking us. Ha! Brother Luo Feng is confident, so what do I have to fear? Di Qing laughed. If Di Qing were acting alone, he wouldn't dare provoke Strange Workshop. But Luo Feng had said he was at God Emperor late-stage Tao comprehension, so Di Qing was willing to take the risk. Before we leave the city, let's be clear. This hunt is a 10-90 split, Di Qing said. This might be our last hunt together. A 10-90 split is already generous. Normally, a God Emperor late stage wouldn't invite a God Emperor early stage onto a hunt. There was a big gap in strength. Luo Feng agreed with a smile. Both men were proud, and didn't want to take undue advantage. Luo Feng knew that once he revealed his true strength, Di Qing wouldn't want to team up again. The gap would make teaming pointless. He quietly recalled everything Di Qing had done for him since arriving in Yulan City, arranging a cave abode, lending Hunyuan crystals, taking him hunting, and teaching him. He owed Di Qing a favor. The black flying shuttle shot out through the east gate. Not far beyond the gate, a gray mist figure watched them depart. "They've left the city," Wu Ya observed. He dropped an invisible mark onto the shuttle rather than directly branding Luo Feng and Di Qing. Stronger cultivators have keener perception, so marking the shuttle was subtler. Then he piloted his own shuttle at a safe distance behind them and followed. The Nine Rivers Sacred World's suppression was intense. Tracking marks needed to be kept within a certain range, or they grew fuzzy. In Yulan City, Celestial Crane Elder received the report. He sat slowly, opening his long, narrow eyes, calm as still water. Going out to hunt after only 300 cycles. Impatient, he mused, then summoned a subordinate. A gray mist figure with emerald eyes appeared and bowed. "Deputy Palace Master," the figure said. "Wu Ya." Celestial Crane Elder said with a smile. "Luo Feng and Di Qing are heading toward the east gate. Pinpoint their location and notify me once they are far enough from Yulan City." It was not wise to act near the city. If the targets could flee back inside, pursuit would be difficult. Better to wait until they were well outside. "Yes," Wu Ya replied, then vanished to follow them. Celestial Crane Elder allowed himself to ponder. Even if they were from a source world, at God Emperor early-stage Dao comprehension, they weren't especially strong. Even if they took treasures best suited to them, they probably only carried tens of millions of Hunyuan crystals. Killing them and seizing their treasures would be easy enough. The real goal was to make an example. Those who dare offend me in Yulan City must pay. Inside the black flying shuttle, Luo Feng had already detected something. He had opened his biomimetic extinction eye in the glabella, the path of creation and destruction, and the paths of life and death, at God Emperor early stage, allowed him deeper insight into the eye of creation and destruction. The biomimetic extinction eye had grown more potent. "Brother Di Qing, strange workshop locked onto us the moment we left the city," Luo Feng said. Di Qing hadn't noticed anything. "Locked onto us?" Di Qing was startled. "It's a karmic lineage mark." "Very clever," Luo Feng said. If it had been the true eye of creation and destruction, it could have bypassed Yulan City's entire protective array and peer into every movement within the city. But using that eye outside the source world could invite disaster. Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye nevertheless saw a faint karmic thread attached to the mark, stretching through the void to a distant point. "I'll see who's tracking us." Luo Feng smiled and sent a blood-colored phantom from his body, flying along the karmic thread toward its far end. Wu Ya, piloting an ordinary shuttle, had just left the city and was following them at a distance. Inside his shuttle, he used the mark to fix their position and reported to Celestial Crane Elder. "They are a certain distance outside Yulan City. I have left the city and am tailing them. I will report their location at all times." "Good, keep a close watch," Celestial Crane Elder replied. Wu Ya was confident. He specialized in tracking, escape, and curse techniques. He had no fear of following Luo Feng and Di Qing. As he followed, a gigantic furry claw suddenly shot out of the sky toward Wu Ya's shuttle. "Not good. Low-level Hunyuan life. We're being ambushed," Wu Ya cried out. He had never expected an ambush so close to the city. The colossal claw enclosed the surrounding space, forming a spatial cage, the palm world. Stuck inside that palm, escape by normal means was impossible. Wu Ya immediately transformed into an endless gray mist and lashed out, trying to tear through the cage and drilling a way out. 9 faint mist forms split off along obscure karmic threads to scatter and flee. As a source world cultivator with clone techniques, Wu Ya relied on evasive methods rather than huge escape treasures. The giant furry hand clenched. With that clench, everything inside the palm world was annihilated. The towering figure with the massive hand had its biomimetic extinction eye open at the glabella and could clearly see the obscure karmic threads Wu Ya used to flee. With a single crushing motion, it destroyed the palm world and targeted the escaping mist threads, annihilating every clone. No, wisps of mist were torn apart. Some resisted fiercely, but the hand wielded the undying blood sea body's overwhelming power, crushing resisting mists into oblivion. No matter how good Wu Ya's escape techniques were, under that gigantic claw, he died in one move. The treasures he carried tumbled into Luo Feng's hands. Luo Feng hovered, looking at the furry claw with satisfaction. That natural secret treasure palm world is indeed extraordinary, he said. Without it, with my undying blood sea body, it might take 3 to 5 moves to finish Wu Ya. With palm world, 1 move suffices. No wonder the elders coveted such treasures. They could amplify one's strength dramatically. Then, like a blood-colored phantom, Luo Feng melted into the world and vanished. Chapter 297, Expectations of the Tianhe Elders. Inside the black flying shuttle, Luo Feng reached out with thought and erased the karmic trace he had left on the shuttle's surface. Di Qing sensed the change and, puzzled, asked, "Brother Luo Feng, why did you suddenly erase the imprint?" "I left it to track the stalker," Luo Feng answered with a smile. "One of my clones found him and took care of him." "Who was stalking us?" Di Qing pressed. "God Emperor Wu Ya from the strange workshop," Luo Feng said, shaking his head. "The moment I discovered him, I crushed him. He probably didn't realize who he was dealing with. He's a source world cultivator, though, so I only destroyed one of his clones." Luo Feng estimated the haul at roughly 12 million Hunyuan crystals, far less than what God Emperor Kumo had carried. That made sense. Kumo had no clones, so all his treasures were on him. "God Emperor Wu Ya is notoriously troublesome," Di Qing said, incredulous. "You took him out that fast?" "1 move," Luo Feng said lightly. "He probably still thinks he was ambushed by a low-level Hunyuan life." Di Qing's heart tightened. To be crushed in a single strike, God Emperor Wu Ya, a God Emperor, early stage, with greater accumulation than Di Qing himself, felled like that, made the gap between Luo Feng and Di Qing starkly clear. "If I can eliminate him with 1 move, my traces are minimized," Luo Feng added solemnly. "Before I face the Celestial Crane Elder, the less they know about me, the better." After all, Celestial Crane Elder had been at Elder level for a long time, although Luo Feng was confident he would not be reckless. "We know a lot about Celestial Crane Elder, but he knows almost nothing about you," Di Qing said. "Intelligence-wise, you have the upper hand." Luo Feng nodded. After a short while, the scarlet apparition that had been split from him returned and merged back into his body. He had poured half his reserves into ambushing the tracker. "We can speed up," he said. "Without the tracker, we can hunt properly. As for Celestial Crane Elder, we'll handle him later when we return." "Understood." Di Qing piloted the black flying shuttle, and they accelerated. Outside Yulan City, a pure white flying creature hovered. A spirit vehicle refined from the corpse of a low-level Hunyuan life, the Celestial Crane Elder's favored mount, the Soul Plume White Sparrow. Inside it, Celestial Crane Elder sat in white robes, his gaze on the corpse of God Emperor Wu Ya. "Wu Ya, explain what happened," he said calmly. "Reporting, Deputy Palace Master," Wu Ya stammered, bewildered. "I was tracking Luo Feng and Di Qing. After leaving the city, the area should have been relatively safe, but I was ambushed by a low-level Hunyuan life. I couldn't even withstand a single move. It felt like a God Emperor perfect level, low-level Hunyuan life." "A God Emperor perfect level?" Celestial Crane Elder frowned. "A low-level Hunyuan life at that level should be a high-ranking member of its race. How could something like that be so close to Yulan City?" Wu Ya continued, shaken. "Even if I met a God Emperor late-stage low-level Hunyuan life, I'd have a chance to escape or exchange blows, but this time I couldn't resist at all. The attack was too exquisite. Only a God Emperor perfect level could display that kind of innate technique." Wu Ya projected the memory of the attack into the air. In the image, as he flew, a gigantic furry claw shot out of the sky, its 5 black and yellow talons cutting through space and forming a spatial cage that trapped his shuttle. The claw tightened, and his escape measures failed. He died. Celestial Crane Elder watched carefully. The claw's soft fur and mottled, ominous talons were indeed the kind of terrifying presence a God Emperor perfect level, low-level Hunyuan life could produce. Crushing Wu Ya with 1 strike was within its ability. "It does look like a God Emperor perfect level made the move," Celestial Crane Elder admitted. "But it's too coincidental. You were tracking Luo Feng and Di Qing, and you were attacked just after leaving the city. Too coincidental." Besides, the location is uncomfortably close to Yulan City. Would a God Emperor perfect level, low-level Hunyuan life risk getting that close just to kill one of your clones? Wuya considered the point. An elite low-level Hunyuan life approaching so near the city would usually have a larger agenda. Celestial Crane Elder's eyes narrowed. There's another possibility, he said. It might have been an elder making the move. An elder? Wuya's heart leapt. Luo Feng and Di Qing are from the source world and have backing, Celestial Crane Elder said with a slight smile. I've long suspected Luo Feng has someone supporting him. On the surface, they left the city, but a protector could be acting secretly. This claw might belong to that protector. Wuya was surprised. An elder backing them? That's bold. Celestial Crane Elder's gaze flashed gold. Rather than paying my price or bowing to me for 50 million Hunyuan crystals, he just left. He's arrogant. Deputy Palace Master, if this elder knows you're standing and still interferes, they intend trouble, Wuya warned. I'd like to see which elder dares interfere in my affairs, Celestial Crane Elder replied, unconcerned. He had fought many elder-level battles before and feared no one. Even if an elder gets involved, I will tear one of their clones to pieces. His eyes turned cold. Chu Yeek. Deputy Palace Master, the golden-armored figure at his side responded respectfully. Dispatch 4 raiding teams, set up strange shadow great arrays outside each of Yulan City's 4 gates. If Luo Feng and Di Qing return, seal them off and trap them. Yes, Chuke responded, then hesitated. Deputy Palace Master, to ensure interception, the arrays can't be too far from the gates. But if they're too close, once the targets get inside the city, it will be hard to pursue. Entering the city meant submitting to city jurisdiction and rules. Don't worry, Celestial Crane Elder said calmly. If they really have an elder backing them, a being of that level won't retreat into the city. They will confront me. Elder-level beings were proud. To slip away without a fight was shameful. Chuyek agreed to guard the east gate. Celestial Crane Elder settled into a cave near that gate, eager. Which elder dares disrespect me? I'm looking forward to it, he said. He relished the prospect of a fierce duel with another elder. Luo Feng put the matter aside for the moment. He needed to hunt. His resources were low, and he had to gather prey to exchange for cultivation materials. It's in the depths of the lake, he said, scanning a distant body of water with his biomimetic extinction eye from inside the black flying shuttle. He saw a low-level Hunyuan life integrated with the lake. Clever camouflage, but not enough to escape him. The scarlet apparition flew out from Luo Feng, merging with the environment, then expanded into a colossal scarlet net that enveloped the lake. A dark-skinned, 8-armed creature with a triangular savage head struggled as the net closed around it. Within a breath, it fell silent, its body intact, but its life core cracked. An 8-armed Nether Luo, only at the weakest level, God Emperor, early stage, Luo Feng said, shaking his head. Prey of that level was too weak. He hadn't even needed secret treasures. He had relied on his undying blood sea body. When the blood sea spread out and covered the area, it trapped and extinguished the creature. The undying blood sea body, honed from the Star Tower's scarlet scales and his cultivation, was the strongest secret art he developed, comparable to a god emperor. Late-stage low-level Hunyuan life when combined with his realm and certain treasures. We've been out hunting 5 days, and we've taken 3 god emperor early-stage low-level Hunyuan lives, Luo Feng mused. Brother Di Qing, we need stronger prey. Those 3 were worth only about 3 million Hunyuan crystals in total, insufficient. We've always hunted like this before, Di Qing said. Mostly God Emperor, early stage, with the occasional stronger one. I want to go deeper, Luo Feng said. According to the intelligence I bought, this area is for early stage hunting teams. Hunting areas were ranges verified over generations by Yulan City cultivators. The deeper you went, the more dangerous and rewarding. Luo Feng produced a map of the Elders' hunting grounds, recording places Elder-level hunters sometimes visited. We can try moving into a portion of the Elders' area, he suggested. The Elders usually hunted alone, rarely leaving the city and often relying on clones. Compared to the Dark Sacred World, the Nine Rivers Sacred World was much less lethal. Di Qing was nervous. He'd never tried it, but Luo Feng reassured him. Hunting experience is accumulated. If I'm not afraid, why should you be? Diqing's excitement swelled. Venturing into the Elder's hunting area would be a rare and thrilling experience. Chapter 298, Prey of the Late God Emperor. Whoosh! The black flying shuttle tore through the thick clouds, speeding farther from Yulan City. According to the map, we've just entered the Elder hunting area, Diqing said, tensing as he scanned the surrounding void. In this zone, my strength is too limited. We'll have to rely on Brother Luo Feng. Don't worry. Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye opened on his brow, and the mystic azure sky extinction array diagram inside him began to rotate. Centered on the shuttle, a vast array domain subtly expanded outward to guard against ambushes. Brother Luo Feng, you know the hunting rules, Diqing murmured. One tip, for your first time in the Elder hunting area, stay extremely alert. Luo Feng had read all the hunting advisories Yulan City sold, but experience was earned by practice. Shashasha. As they advanced, a phantom creature that resembled a cross between a centipede and a snail slid along unseen. Completely concealed, it eluded even Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye. It was a blood demon Elith, a notorious clan of low-level Hunyuan life, famed for stealth and deadly venom. Cultivators dreaded them. The blood demon Elith crept closer, fixating on the distant black flying shuttle. It detected the array domain studding the shuttle's perimeter. Two cultivators this deep? They don't look like Yulan City elders, it mused. As a God Emperor late-stage specimen, it had some rank and access to old intelligence about the city's elders. Old, out of date as it was, the information still had value. Let's test them. It struck without delay. Hesitation would only invite complications. If it waited, kin might discover these two and claim the prey. Low-level Hunyuan life hunted cultivators as well. Killing cultivators granted evolutionary gains, bloodline growth, and freedom from the cage. The blood demon Elith lunged. Luo Feng and Diqing were vigilant, Luo Feng running the mystic azure sky array at full. Still, they did not detect the attacker until it was upon them. A terrible fluctuation shattered the array's surface. Luo Feng's expression went cold. In an instant, he perceived a twisted, centipede-like mass bristling with countless claws. Even sensing it made his world tilt. Nausea, dizziness, vertigo. It's a blood demon Elith. Luo Feng recognized it at once. His undying blood sea body erupted. The vast, limitless blood sea surged outward, colliding with the pouncing thing. Centered on the mystic azure sky array, the blood sea's might slammed into the attacker, forcefully blocking its assault. I'll take you first. Luo Feng's undying blood sea flared to protect Diqing. The blood demon Elith's poison was lethal. Even a late-stage Dao comprehension with a weak body could be killed by direct contact. Diqing was already staggering and could not touch it. While transmitting his voice, Luo Feng instantly drew Diqing into collection with his treasure. With Diqing safe, Luo Feng focused entirely on the blood demon Elith. Even as the limitless blood sea met the creature, its poison leached into the sea and spread wildly. The blood demon Elith relied on that poison. Despite being low-level, as an innate origin life, it had abilities beyond normal comprehension. Its toxin alone could repel or even kill a late-stage God Emperor under certain conditions. Luo Feng's massive, furry claw swept like a mountain. One strike covered a vast space. The blood demon Elith had nowhere to flee and was torn apart. On being bitten, the creature split into billions of tiny centipede snail fragments that merged with the limitless blood sea. The true body shattered, the blood demon Elith cried, stunned by the sheer ferocity of the blow. It could not resist. Only by fragmenting could it hope to survive. On, the world tipped. The blood sea roiled. Mystic azure sky. Luo Feng pushed the array to full power. The limitless blood sea swept throughout the domain, drawing in the billions of fragments into the eye of the blood sea. Inside that eye, the array spun, and spatial cages locked the tiny blood demon Eliths in place. The trapped fragments counterattacked frantically, and the cages trembled on the verge of collapse. Undying heart, suppress, Luo Feng roared. A cyan pearl materialized. From it, countless channels spread through Luo Feng's body and into the endless blood sea. With those channels in place, the limitless blood sea's power multiplied several times over, its toughness surging by orders of magnitude, a touch of undying potency suffusing it. The eye of the blood sea fused with the cyan pearl. Stability and cohesion of the spatial cages shot upward, forcibly restraining billions of tiny Eliths. Moo! Inside the eye of the blood sea, rolling blood condensed into a monstrous furry claw. Each strike pulverized swathes of the trapped fragments. Again and again, masses of Eliths were crushed. No, no, how can this be? He's not even on Yulan City's elder list. How is he so strong? The tiny Eliths wailed as they were ground down. They resisted, but they could not escape the bolstered, undying blood sea in its claw. With 6 decisive strikes, Luo Feng broke the hidden creature's life core. When that core split, the fragments merged back into their original form, revealing the blood demon Elith whole and dying. Aye! It could not accept its end. Luo Feng let out a breath of relief as the massive corpse fell. I had to use both great treasures to kill it. Without Palm World and the undying blood sea empowered by the undying heart, he would not have trapped and suppressed the Elith long enough to finish it. He suspected he had slain a low-level Hunyuan life of the God Emperor late stage. Among elders, only a few could take such a being in single combat. Luo Feng felt the weight of that victory and the cost. It's dead, but the poison keeps spreading. He frowned. Even amplified by the undying heart, the blood sea only slowed the toxin's erosion. It did not neutralize it. The poisoned region continued to expand. This poison can't be eliminated. Luo Feng made a decision. Concentrating, he separated the portion of energy that had contacted the creature, forsaking the poisoned parts. He carved out roughly 1/20th of his vast, limitless blood sea and abandoned it. He watched the isolated portion quickly and completely erode until only a twisted, dark mass remained. A colossal knot of poison, 3,000 kilometers across, writhing with countless thread-like filaments. In an instant, that writhing sphere collapsed, contracting down until it condensed into a fist-sized globule of black liquid. I can't deal with this directly. Luo Feng dared not touch it. Such was the nature of low-level Hunyuan life. Beings born to leap out of the cage with incomprehensible traits. Some hid so well cultivators could not detect them. Others breached Yulan City's defenses and infiltrated the inner wards in past epochs. Cultivators had been killed by such infiltrators before. Luo Feng was fortunate. Living in the inner city for only a short time, he had not yet faced those tragedies. Elith poison is valuable. I'll store it. He used a storage treasure to contain the fist-sized black liquid, taking every precaution. The poison must not touch anything living. If it did, it would immediately spread. Normal energy could not destroy it. We must leave at once, no lingering. Luo Feng melted into a shadow and departed. The first rule of hunting, after killing a low-level Hunyuan life, leave the battleground immediately. After flying a short distance, Luo Feng released the black flying shuttle and let Di Qing emerge. Di Qing looked around, still a bit unsteady but lucid. We escaped? Blood Demon Elith are tenacious trackers, Di Qing warned. If its attack failed, it could secretly track us or call companions. It's dead, Luo Feng said. Di Qing stared. It was troublesome. You fought with everything and barely killed it? It was difficult, Luo Feng admitted, but we're already quite far from the fight. It's safer now. Let's continue hunting. Chapter 299. The Largest Race. Blood Demon Elith was killed? A cold wave hit Di Qing's heart. These naturally born origin lives were crude in technique, but their life force was tenacious, easy to defeat, hard to destroy. From the Nine Rivers Sacred World's experience, a Dao comprehension at the same rank usually had a slight edge over a low-level Hunyuan life in a one-on-one fight, but outright killing one was extremely difficult and normally required multiple team members. Luo Feng, alone, killed a God Emperor late-stage low-level Hunyuan life, Di Qing thought. That kind of strength is terrifying even among the elders. The Celestial Crane Elder shouldn't be a threat. No matter how deep Celestial Crane Elder's accumulation, if he hadn't reached half-primordial origin, he couldn't possibly kill a cultivator of Luo Feng's caliber. At most, he could suppress him slightly, and Luo Feng would still make a name for himself in Yulan City. Good. Let's keep hunting. Di Qing steadied himself and guided the black flying shuttle onward. Brother Luo Feng, this will probably be the last time we hunt together, he said quietly. I thought I could still help a little, but instead I've become a liability. A God Emperor, late-stage low-level Hunyuan life was too dangerous. Even a trace of the poison left by Elith could annihilate Di Qing's avatar. Brother Di Qing managed to reach God Emperor middle stage within a single reincarnation era on the origin continent, Luo Feng said with a chuckle. That talent is above the two nations' forefathers. He could reach half-primordial origin in time, maybe even go beyond the elder ranks. Di Qing smiled, proud yet realistic. He knew the path to half-primordial origin would demand countless hardships, near-death trials, and unbearable tests. That might well be the limit of his life. But with Luo Feng's growth rate, half-primordial origin was within reach. Perhaps even the cage wouldn't hold him. Breaking out of the cage, however, was legend. In the dark sacred world, God Emperor late stage was common, and half-primordial origin was everywhere. Yet breaking out of the cage remained nearly impossible. As they talked, they stayed alert. Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye scanned the surroundings continually, while the mystic azure sky annihilation array inside him radiated a wide protective domain. It had been that array that allowed Luo Feng to rescue Di Qing when they were ambushed by Blood Demon Elith. Luo Feng's eye fixed on a mist-shrouded mass to their front left. Through the haze, he could make out blue-white scaled, 8-hoofed creatures, each with a single horn and an aura of chilling air that formed the surrounding clouds. 15 Frost Soul Watchers. A full 15, Luo Feng said, excitement lighting his eyes. Among the low-level Hunyuan life around the Nine Rivers sacred world, Frost Soul Watchers were the most numerous. Their populations were terrifying. Hunters from Yulan City had seen thousands move as one, including sightings of 3 God Emperor perfect-level Frost Soul Watchers. No cultivator from Yulan City dared take on such a huge team in the open world. A lone Frost Soul Watcher was rare, usually losers expelled from leadership fights. Only those capable of challenging for leadership reached God Emperor perfect level. So finding even one alone could be more dangerous than it seemed. 15 Frost Soul Watchers? Di Qing exclaimed beside him. That's a small squad. Judging by their size, aura, and scale patterns, they're all God Emperor middle stage, Luo Feng said. Though numerous, Frost Soul Watchers are otherwise average. They know a bit of concealment, evasion, offense, and defense, but none of it is exceptional. Let's take them out in one go, Luo Feng decided. Di Qing me. Understood, Di Qing replied. I'll do my best to hold them. The cloud mass drifted slowly. The 15 within it scanned patiently in all directions. Their observational methods weren't as refined as Luo Feng's biomimetic extinction eye, but they were thorough. Low-level Hunyuan life loved to hunt cultivators, and Frost Soul Watchers were especially ferocious. Their vast numbers sometimes drove them to prey on other low-level Hunyuan life. The moment they found prey, they struck as a hive. Suddenly, boundless blood waves erupted, spreading a bloody hue across heaven and earth. The blood-colored sea enveloped the cloud mass and the 15 Frost Soul Watchers inside. Cultivators, the Frost Soul Watchers cried, fixing their gaze on the 2 figures at the heart of the blood waves, Luo Feng and Di Qing. Kill. The blood waves lashed at the cloud mass, trying to erode it, but the cold-formed cloud resisted. Di Qing, meanwhile, was remotely arranging a sword array. The cultivator controlling the blood waves is God Emperor late stage, one observer noted telepathically. The one beside him is much weaker. Break the blood waves together and tear them apart. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers showed no fear. They preferred collective combat. Together, they dared to face a God Emperor late stage. Their cold aura coalesced, merging the cloud mass into a gigantic claw that grabbed at Luo Feng. Luo Feng resisted, but the claw tore through, shredding his physical form into blood waves that merged into the limitless blood sea. He can transform into a blood sea, but his close-quarters combat is ordinary, they analyzed. Devour his blood sea. The cloud mass began to frantically absorb the blood waves. The limitless blood sea surged. Mystic azure sky, heaven and earth in a line. A pure light born of creation and destruction pierced the cloud mass and through the body of one Frost Soul Watcher, shattering its life core. The body dissolved as the light swept on, carrying blood waves away. The remaining 14 were startled. His blood sea is array-savvy and strong. Continue absorbing. The smaller the blood sea gets, the weaker his array. They pressed on, and the blood sea, which had only been a small fraction of Luo Feng's actual reserves, visibly shrank. Luo Feng had deliberately shown weakness. If they had scattered to escape, he could only catch a little. By letting them think victory was possible, he drew them in. The light of creation and destruction struck again, taking another Frost Soul Watcher. "We've absorbed 30% of the Blood Sea. He won't last long," they boasted. They absorbed more, the Blood Sea shrinking further. 3 more strikes, and 3 more Frost Soul Watchers fell. Soon the Blood Sea had dwindled significantly. The 6th strike could no longer penetrate the cloud mass. "His Blood Sea has only 30% left. The array is weak now, no longer a threat," the 10 remaining Frost Soul Watchers concluded. With 5 of their number already dead, their killing intent intensified. At that moment, a blood shadow tried to break free. Escaping? The 10 Frost Soul Watchers focused, generating a talent, Soul Freeze. 10 of them pooling the Soul Freeze wasn't overwhelmingly strong. Without special defenses, it might interrupt escape methods. Luo Feng, however, had the Li Yuan art and the Undying Heart. The Undying Heart guarded his soul, rendering the Soul Freeze ineffective. The fleeing blood shadow was briefly hindered, its escape technique disrupted, and its physical form revealed. "Cultivator, you can't escape." The Frost Soul Watchers cheered as their massive cloud mass swelled, intent on devouring the remaining blood waves and the exposed form within. "Is that so?" Luo Feng quietly decided he had delayed long enough. From 15 down to 9 reduced their danger considerably, and lingering too long in an elder hunting ground was risky. He shifted, breaking cover. Boom! An afterimage flickered as he forcefully pierced the cloud mass. A blurred claw swept past, cracking another Frost Soul Watcher's life core and leaving another corpse behind. "What?" the 9 remaining cried in alarm. The supposedly weakened cultivator had claimed another life. "That's enough!" Luo Feng no longer feigned weakness. The limitless blood sea unfurled, and a majestic form rose within it. The Undying Heart pulsed, sending countless meridians throughout his blood body and across the sea. The Undying Blood Sea body, bolstered by the Undying Heart, surged in power. His right hand transformed into a gigantic, furry claw. With that claw, he tore through the cloud mass and through the Frost Soul Watcher formation. 2 more fell. The Frost Soul Watchers realized they'd been deceived. He was hiding his strength, one thought. He's not an ordinary elder. Escape! 7 streaks of light shot out like fleeing souls. They were nimble through the blood waves, but their escape techniques were inferior to those of Blood Demon Elith and the like. Luo Feng tracked them easily. The blood waves rolled, inverting heaven and earth. Suppress! The whole blood sea tightened. 5 of the fleeing streaks were trapped inside the Eye of Creation and Destruction. Another was intercepted by Luo Feng's furry claw and crushed beneath his palm world. The last one was blocked by Di Qing's sword array. One by one, the Frost Soul Watchers were captured and killed. "He actually caught them all," Luo Feng breathed, elated. 1 Frost Soul Watcher alone was manageable. 15 working as a team made this a much tougher job. By feigning weakness and baiting them, he'd trapped the whole squad. 15 Frost Soul Watchers are worth nearly 200 million Hunyuan crystals, Di Qing said, heartened. He had finally made a real contribution. "Let's get out of here," Luo Feng said. He knew better than to linger on a battlefield like this. They guided the black flying shuttle and fled. Only a few dozen breaths later, 9 Frost Soul Watchers arrived, this time with far more terrifying auras. Their eyes pierced the void as they swept the surrounding area, the chill from their cold air forming a wide zone of scrutiny as they searched methodically for any trace of the recent battle. Chapter 300, Death Crisis. "One of my teams was completely annihilated. None escaped," one of the 9 terrifying Frost Soul Watchers reported. "This time the cultivators are unusually strong. The Heartland itself was attacked. That was reported long ago. I expect leaders are already tracking them." Another voice answered. The low-level Hunyuan life were innumerable. If the outermost perimeter was struck, they often paid it little mind. The territory was simply too vast to hunt down every invader. But when the Heartland was targeted, the low-level Hunyuan life dispatched forces immediately. With the cities as their shield, the cultivators could hide inside and launch ambushes. Without that protection, they would have been devoured long ago. "These cultivators are few and weak," a Frost Soul Watcher grumbled. "If they weren't sheltered by the cities, we'd have eaten them ages ago." "They hide within the cities and strike on occasion," another said, annoyed. "In overall strength, the low-level Hunyuan life outclassed the cultivators, but the cities allowed the latter to cultivate in relative safety and to be used as a resource pool. When will we breach another city? If we could, we'd devour countless cultivators. I heard when Boyang City was breached, our kin there feasted. Hundreds of millions of cultivators in that city alone, someone recalled. But breaching a city is far from easy. The 35 cities of the Nine Rivers Sacred World were monumental city-sealed treasures exchanged for merit and overseen by hallmasters and elders, so their defenses were formidable. Even a superior low-level Hunyuan force could not smash through head-on. It required inside help and precise coordination. Each breach was a catastrophe for the cultivators. The Nine Rivers had been arranged by Senior Yuan and the others to favor cultivators. If a city still fell, it meant the cultivators had failed. The 9 Frost Soul Watchers chatted briefly as they rode their cloud formations, speeding through the air to patrol the region. Wild Hoof Leader, in your territory, 1 God Emperor late-stage Blood Demon Elith and 15 God Emperor early-stage Frost Soul Watchers have been killed. We suspect an elder entered the Heartland to hunt, a transmission reported. Understood. A streak of lightning launched from the vast river, patrolling its domain. The elder hunting area had come dangerously close to 9 Rivers. Coming into another's territory to hunt was risky. The low-level Hunyuan life near Yulan City were divided into many races. The vast hoof were few in number but individually powerful. Around Yulan City, there was only 1 God Emperor perfect level among the vast hoof, their leader. God Emperor perfect level low-level Hunyuan life were rare. Races with large populations, like the Frost Soul Watchers, might have several at that level, but many races had only 1, or none. The Heartland was divided into territories managed by leaders. Kill one in its domain, and a relentless pursuit would follow. These beings were intelligent, no foolhardy victims, and any death in their core would trigger a hunt. Inside the black flying shuttle, Di Qing was elated. We killed 15 God Emperor early-stage Frost Soul Watchers. Not one escaped. Luo Feng nodded. The late-stage God Emperor Blood Demon Elith they had met earlier was worth a lot. The venom alone, and its corpse, fetched around 150 million Hunyuan crystals. Its merit value added about 10 million, totaling roughly 160 million Hunyuan crystals. The 15 Frost Soul Watchers, with their combined merits, should be worth about 190 million Hunyuan crystals. We can head back, Luo Feng said. I intended to kill 2 late-stage God Emperors before returning. This is as far as we need to go. It's wise to be cautious, Di Qing agreed. The Elder Hunting Area is the heartland of low-level Hunyuan activity. There are too many powerful existences. They had already run into 2 high-value targets there, the late-stage Blood Demon Elith and the Frost Soul Watcher team. That demonstrated the density and strength of low-level Hunyuan life in the Heartland. Di Qing piloted the black flying shuttle, and they began a cautious return to Yulan City. Luo Feng scanned the surroundings. He knew his strength was dangerous to display in the Heartland. Elders who came there often used avatars or left behind their most precious treasures like the Undying Heart or the Palm World to avoid losing everything if an avatar fell. Luo Feng, however, carried both treasures and so had to be much more careful. When his path of creation and destruction advanced further, if he reached God Emperor early stage, the fusion path he pursued should rival a God Emperor perfect level of a normal path, and his strength would be considered at the Hall Master tier. Then, so long as he avoided the core of 9 Rivers, he could hunt the Heartland with far less risk. But he had been in Yulan City for 900 epochs and had only just reached God Emperor early stage. The obstacles ahead would be greater, and it would not be quick. Luo Feng resolved to follow Senior Yuan's advice. Do not rely on other cultivators' inheritances. Instead, build his path by his own exploration so every step would be solid. He had not purchased any half-primordial inheritances. He remained a blank slate, unwilling to let other paths contaminate his own. Di Qing, still thrilled with their haul, thought aloud, with gains like this inside the Heartland, he's already a pretty formidable elder. If he keeps going, he might soon be on par with the 3 Hall Masters, Di Qing mused. Brother Luo Feng could change the whole structure of Yulan City. Or he might not care about Yulan City at all, another thought added. Di Qing's emotions were complicated. To him, Luo Feng might not even glance at the three hall masters. They flew at high speed when a bolt of lightning appeared in the distance. Neither daring to be distracted, both men felt the chill from its aura. Di Qing stared, speechless. The lightning's presence sent a shiver through him. It was far stronger than the aura of the blood demon Elith. Luo Feng's soul tightened. From the unseen, a threatening sensation made his being tremble. A god emperor perfect level vast hoof, he thought. The aura was unmistakable. There should only be one god emperor perfect level vast hoof in the Yulan City area, the leader. At first glance, the vast hoof seemed entirely black, but closer inspection revealed a deep blue sheen running through its scaled hide. Its body was enormous, covered in layered scales. A pair of sharp, curved horns crowned its head, and its eyes crackled with lightning. Even at a distance, it radiated menace. "Brother Luo Feng," Di Qing said, pale. "You hide. I'll find a way to escape." Luo Feng immediately concealed Di Qing and stored the black flying shuttle. He did not think he could defeat this opponent. Escape was the priority. "You actually dare to hunt in my territory," a deep voice rolled across the void. The chaotic origin wild hoof leader fixed cold lightning on them. "You are the new elder from Yulan City? Don't think your avatar will escape." At once, the surrounding void condensed with fierce azure lightning that struck toward Luo Feng. The lightning came too fast for him to dodge. The bolt hit Luo Feng's body. Thanks to the undying heart, his undying blood sea body had heightened resilience and defensive power, truly undying. He staggered under the blow, but the body held. So tough, the undying heart is truly undying, Luo Feng thought, relieved. If he could withstand the long-range lightning assault, he might have a chance to flee. The chaotic origin wild hoof leader paused, surprised, then moved. In a single bound, it charged through the void, tearing the heavens and earth apart. The aftershocks cracked the surrounding billions of kilometers of space, revealing vague, outermost secret pattern phantoms. Under the twisted and shredded firmament, though Luo Feng had fully dodged, the terrifying figure had already appeared right before him.